Hey guys, quick content note here. So contrary to what we say in the episode, we actually do not get around to talking about the scenarios of the Innsmouth Conspiracy box, nor our experience with War of the Outer Gods. Despite having been at this for more than 3 years, we every time manage to forget how much content actually comes in a deluxe box. So despite what we say, this episode is just about the player cards, and we're going to punt everything else to the next episode. So when we mention those other things in this episode, just go ahead and have a little chuckle at our hubris. I know I do. Enjoy.
Mythos Busters, investigating the mystery, monsters, and madness of Arkham Horror, the card game.
Hello and welcome to episode 98 of Mythos Busters. I'm Sean. Joining me tonight is Scott. Hey, Scott.
Oh, hi.
What kind of coat? What are you wearing tonight? Who are you wearing? Why are you wearing?
Well,
first of all,
I'm
most
wearing
importantly,
a gray sweater and some jeans, black
Nice.
Socks. Yeah,
Well done.
Really ties the outfit together, I guess.
This was your excuse to be like, I'm wearing Tom's skin.
Oh, right, yes. I'm Tom.
Joining us as well is Nick. Hey, Nick.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm good. And since no one asked, I'm a sucker for a Pretentious hoodie. Anyone who knows me in person probably has seen me in a Pretentious hoodie from here to there. I found a great one on clearance tonight. Hey, it's Tom. How did he know? His ears were burning. His baby Yoda shaped ears were burning. Wow. Missing tonight is Ian, and he'll catch us on the next one. But since we kind of had a weird schedule with our War of the Outer Gods playthrough interrupting our normal cadence, we had to shift to a weeknight tonight. So he'll join us on the next one. Big Kahuna, what makes a hoodie pretentious? Very good question. Cuts, unnecessary cuts. Like, you know, if it's got seams where Final Fantasy characters have seams, it's probably a pretentious hoodie.
If it looks like Final Fantasy characters would wear it.
If it looks like Nomura designed any facet of it, it's probably a pretentious hoodie. We've got a great show for you guys tonight. We've got our normal openers. We've got a couple things to run through, and then the meat of our episode tonight. We're finally getting around to tackling the Innsmouth Conspiracy box. So we're going to be talking about the player cards and some thoughts about the scenarios. And then, of course, we'll actually push some of our What Have You Been Playing talk to the end of the episode. I'll mention it here very quickly. As I just mentioned earlier in the week, we finally got around to doing our mutual face check into the War of the Outer Gods, and boy, it sure did something to our faces.
Yep.
So we'll wrap up with that, and then, of course, if there's any time left, we'll do some technical time. But first, big announcement. We announced this last time. Super excited about it, so if you missed this, I just want to make sure we lead with it. Our Dissonant Voices voiceover project, where we read the story text for the scenarios. It's up to date to Innsmouth, and we have now started Innsmouth. And the more exciting bit is that we are now integrated with the Arkham Cards app. So if you are a patron, you can log straight into Patreon from the Arkham Cards app, and just click the play button. Just click the play button right next to the text. Oh, God, have you guys been using it? Is it not like the biggest quality of life improvement in a very long time?
Yeah, I'm not going to toot our own horns, but holy crap.
I was excited to use it, and then I realized that the content I'm playing is too new, and we don't have that quite up yet. I'm like, oh,
Sure.
The one time I'm caught up content-wise.
Well, I haven't played a game in 16 years, but the one I did play, we didn't have the voiceover for.
Yeah, exactly.
So anyway, go check that out if you haven't already, and if that's a thing that would interest you, that's available to patrons at any level. So even if you just throw us $1 per episode, all of that is unlocked to you.
We also released the Corset campaign
Yes.
for everybody.
Yes.
So you get like a little appetizer or an amuse-bouche, if you will, to see if it'd be something you'd like. So
It's like an Applebee's sampler platter, at least.
I would hope we rate higher than an Applebee's sampler
Hey, now.
platter. Yeah,
Sometimes they got good stuff on there.
that's fair.
Those fake flautas, I mean, you can't discount them.
Yeah, I mean, I'd probably destroy the hell out of a Applebee's something. So
But yeah, so those are out there. And yeah, so also check them out on our YouTube channel. And the one Scott just mentioned is out there as a free YouTube video. The whole Night of the Zealot campaign contained in one video. Links in the description. It's pretty handy there too. So if you want to see kind of what Dissonant Voices is and what might it look like if it's integrated with Arkham cards, that's a good way to go check that out. So that's on our YouTube channel. Let's see here. What else? Oh yeah. Do we want to lead the show with this one? Let's lead the show with this one. So last week we started our revival of the Mythos Busters hotline, and by last week I mean last episode, which was not last week. It was in fact 2 weeks ago. I asked everyone, what do you think is the most versatile class? Unfortunately, the phone lines did not go a-ringing as much as I'd hoped, but we did get a fun response.
Hey guys, this is Steven, Sojourn17 on Discord. I think it'd be easier to start with the least versatile class, which is easily Guardian. I mean, unless you consider which gun you want to mindlessly kill things with being versatile. But I hate to give Sean more confidence than he already has, but I think Mystic is the most versatile class. Instead of needing to pump several different stats to accomplish whatever task you're doing, they can rely on their willpower to strengthen whatever type of investigator they're playing as. Anyway, I love the show. Oh, wait, hold on. Someone's knocking on my door. Oh, hey, Nick. What are you doing with that shotgun?
oh my.
I was worried that he was recording that. Gosh.
Good thing you hid the body.
All right, I'm going to grab my duck out bag, and I will see you guys in like 6 months.
In a boogie bag. Justin's already burying the body.
Yeah.
Anyway, so thank you, Steven, for calling in. You're absolutely right. And in fact, this was a rigged question. Though I am curious if anyone else has any other opinions. Do you guys think that Mystic is the most versatile class, or do you think anyone else ranks up in there?
I think Survivor is the most versatile.
Okay.
Yeah,
Why.
You know, Nick, I agree, and not because my name is red or I love Survivor.
We all know that you're only red on the outside.
It's true. I'm yellow on the inside.
Yeah.
But Survivor, I guess, I think Mystic and Survivor are tied for the lead in my mind. But they both do it differently. Like, Survivor does it, I'd say, the more typical way, where you use investigating to get clues and you use, weapons to kill, and you use your combat and agility and your intellect and your willpower for all these different things. And Mystic
mechanical
is
gymnastics, if you will.
Yeah, and I mean, but it's the normal way, and Mystic's like, not everyone on the willpower boat, and then you just basically play out cards that allow you to do those things, just replacing your willpower. So
Right.
Yeah, I guess the stumbling block I find with Mystic is if you don't get your right rig out of spells and stuff, like, you don't have the backup stats usually to make things happen. I don't know.
The events help with that. It's really nice to see the spell events that of the little suite of investigate, fight, and evade events that we've seen. I'm excited for us to get more
And
spell
Sword
events
Cane.
like that.
Mhm.
And but again, that's part of the rig. Like, if you don't get, there's tools that need to get out. Just like with Guardian. Like, if Guardian doesn't get their weapons out, most Guardians are going to be like, oh, what am I doing? Like, I just got to dig for it now. You know what I mean?
But the
yeah,
Guardian
I
can
think-
still punch then, right? Like, they can still do
Usually,
one damage.
yeah.
But
But
the Mystic, if you have like 5 willpower, it's like, well, willpower alone doesn't do anything.
That's true.
You need
That's
cards
true.
to turn that willpower into something.
Yeah.
But
But yeah, I do agree that I do think Survivor is the most versatile just right out of the gate. And I think it's because you can build a Survivor who both is good on success and good on failure.
yeah.
Like, where is there to go from there?
Up, Nick. Up.
Right? Yeah, only. Well, not only, but yeah.
I don't like fully disagree with anything you guys are saying, but I do think that survivors are a little bit more, let's go with strategically stratified, because there are some survivors that are clearly just meant to fight, and I think it's a little bit harder to get versatility out of those than say like your Stellas who literally can just show up and do anything.
I don't know, but even like Yorick, you can run Gravedigger's Shovel and keep ditching it for clues and then recalling it with just Yorick. You know what I mean? Like, and Silas has access to deduction and stuff like that. So there's still like, yeah, even though they are like, you look at the stat line and it says I'm the killer, they still, Survivor as a class still has a lot of tools that allow you to get clues or do whatever, even though your stat line may not, coincide with that.
Sure. Fair enough. All right. Well, thanks again, Stephen, for calling in. We appreciate the input and the slapstick. We always love it. So this episode, I'm going to give you guys a non-stacked prompt. I'm going to give you guys something. It's a softball right over home plate. You just knock it out if you want it. This is very subjective, very easy to expound on. Who is your pet investigator, and why do you love them? Why do you stan your gator? So call in to the Mythos Busters hotline. That's 203-493-6984, or if you prefer, 203-493-MYTH, and leave us your answer.
And if you go to our Facebook page and click call, it just calls the number.
Just straight in.
Yeah.
So easy. And we'll round those up on the next show. Big Kahuna says no one say Diana. Don't worry, I got that covered.
Yeah.
I have enough love. All right, Scott, what patron news have we?
All right. Well, we would like to say our regular thanks to our board members, Chris B, Chris H, Chris M, our conglomeration of Chris's, Morton, Jared, Ian, Kyle, Philip, Dave, Abilio, Jesse, Chad, and Robert. Thank you again, guys, for your undying support. Special shout out to a random patron is Carol Dietrich, I believe it's pronounced. I have a friend who has the same last name, so... Carol
sounds right.
Carol Dietrich. I apologize if it's Carl. If you want to get some sweet duds like a Pretentious hoodie, like Sean likes to wear,
hell yeah,
mythosmerch.com. We have beanies, we have hoodies. Oh my god, so many fun things.
Blankets.
Oh yeah, the blankets.
Oh
yeah. Posters if you want them. We have more stuff coming. So if you'd like anything there.
And I imagine that we're still waiting on some of the test things to come in before we release them, and we're happy with them. But I would imagine by the time this goes up, it will be up soon. If anyone tuned into our meme stream at the end of our last meme contest, and it really enjoyed the darling of the meme episode, which was the live, laugh, love, place one doom on the agenda, this may cause the agenda to advance poster, that's going to be up soon, so pay attention to Mythos merch for that one, because I'm like first in line when those things go live. It's going to be so good.
Oh, I can't wait. And yeah, there's still we still have the Undone Fun Run, the Iron Man logoed stuff, until the end of January, which is like 4 days from live recording. So if you want that, get it quick. It looks amazing. I have had someone ask me like, "Oh, what run was that?"
Yes.
So
that was the goal from the beginning.
I know. I love it.
Sneak in there with all the spurts.
Yeah. As far as goals for our patron, we've unlocked the custom scenario. Last episode we kind of did the whole design thing we did, kind of like the previous scenario for Consternation on the Constellation. We've also unlocked BusterCon. We'll have to obviously pump the brakes a little bit because COVID is happening. But thank you to everyone for helping us smash these goals. We cannot wait to get BusterCon and all these other future things. So thank you everyone for all your support. We have a few new job titles. Sean, would you like to do the honors? Or Nick? Both?
Sure can. First one, we've got Laurel Christick. who's going to be filling the role of Deep One's Relations and Awful Storage. And oddly enough, those two positions aren't related at all. There's nothing to see here. We're not turning the Deep Ones into Awful. It's good relations. But I think Laurel's going to do a great job.
I mean, you know what? And like 5 out of 6 of those deep freezes work. So that's a good start.
We also have Nate Rhoda, who is the Outer Gods air traffic controller. Nate, you're going to have a busy first day.
Yeah, and very busy subsequent days. I mean, it just does not stop coming.
It just sets your first day is just going to hit you like a truck, but it'll even out from there.
What about the ones that don't fly?
Oh. Well, I mean...
Well, that's for Nate to come up with a solution.
Air's a loose term here, right? Like, you know, air, right? With bunny rabbit ears.
Yep.
And then last we've got Johnny Fan, who's going to be our new and very important Armor of Ardennes combat readiness tester. So he's going to be in the trenches with the test dummies, getting shot, getting tentacled, probably getting gooed from various sources, all monsters, just to make sure that armor is all ready and set to go.
You know, of all the previous people who've had this position, you know, like I always enjoy the exit interview when we're able to have one. That is
right.
Yeah,
that one time,
like 8% of the time.
Fantastic. That's it for patron stuff, right?
I believe it is.
And again, just a big welcome to everyone. We have had a pretty big influx of patrons. I think probably due to the Dissonant Voices thing. I feel like that was a tipping point for a lot of people. So if you're new to the podcast, welcome. Glad to have you, and stick around. You might like what we do, or you might not. That's fine.
Yeah.
We still want you. Nick, what news do we have?
News. We have an article from FFG revealing Into the Maelstrom, which is that the final pack for Dunwich or for Innsmouth? Dunwich, holy crap.
Dunwich, yeah.
So excited to be done with that first cycle finally, guys. Holy cow.
Those delays are real.
Yeah. Into the Maelstrom, final pack for the Innsmouth cycle. So excited to see that. We have a few cards here. We're obviously not going to talk about encounter stuff because that's the kind of stuff we save for our spoiler episodes, which this will be later on. But
like 8 months or so.
Yeah, well, yeah. I meant this episode will be for the box, but yeah, for this particular thing, it'll probably be like next year. Anyway, we have a few different cards to go over. The first one is yellow, so we'll give it to our survivor. Are you guys hearing me okay?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why?
Okay. Well, just because there's a message in chat saying that I'm cutting out pretty severely, so I want to make sure that at least you guys can hear me.
Yep. Good on my end.
We'll edit this out. More butts.
No, we won't.
We won't. But. What?
Sorry.
Oh, boy. Scott, do you want to read Ancestral Knowledge for us, please?
Sure do. Ancestral Knowledge is a Seeker null-costed asset. It has 3... It's a level 3. It's talent traded. It's permanent and exceptional. So it's going to cost you 6 XP to put in the deck, and you only get 1, but it's permanent, so it's probably fine. Your deck must include at least 10 skills. Your deck size is increased by 5. Reaction. Before you draw your opening hand, attach 5 random non-weakness skills from your deck face down to this card. Zappy Boy, fast triggered action thing. Exhaust Ancestral Knowledge. Draw 1 attached skill. Huh. And no slots.
Okay.
So, this is the Seeker version of Stick to the Plan?
Yeah, but I think, unlike Stick to the Plan, I don't think this is as universal of an include. Maybe it is. Because everybody likes skills. But, like, when I see this, I think Amanda immediately wants this. Having more access to being able to choose, have good choices to put, to stack under her. Who I had someone else in mind, and now I can't think of who.
Min, probably?
Min? Oh, yes, Min. Oh, Min would love this. Absolutely love this. So, I guess I don't know. Skills are, they're universally useful, so maybe this is the stick to the plan for Seekers. Maybe everyone wants this.
Big Kahuna with the real comment here. Now you can run a 65 card Mandy deck.
Oh, yes.
Yep. I
Yeah,
mean, why not? Why not?
50 card double versatile ancestral knowledge. Ooh. Sounds like a hoot.
I mean, let's just see how far we can push it, right?
I'm gonna build that deck. Just saying.
65 good cards.
I missed the word random in ancestral knowledge. I didn't realize that the skills you attach to it are random.
Yeah.
So that's. I mean, you still want the skills. Like, you still want the. Like, you wouldn't put them in your deck if you didn't want to see them. But that's more of a limiter than I expected.
You know what, though? I think you can build around that a little bit, at least. Like, if you... It says you must include at least 10 skills. If you include exactly 10 skills, you're going to be pretty close to what you want under there. And to me, this is just... You know, you're increasing your deck size by 5, but you're also attaching 5 random cards, so your deck size essentially doesn't change. And what this is saying is, like, draw 5 cards from the Nether 5 times quickly. You know what I mean? Like, it's draw an extra card each turn for the first 5 turns of the game. So comparing this with, oh goodness, what's the Seeker permanent +1 card at the beginning? Your opening hand.
The Tarot. Oh,
No.
Studious.
Yeah.
Studious.
Studious.
Studious increases your opening hand size by 1, but this essentially like draws you a card. This draws you 5 cards over 5 turns. So I think I kind of like this. I mean, it is limited a bit because it has to be skills, but I think I kind of like it. Still.
Well, and not only does it like it's 5 extra card draws over 5 turns, but it's when you need them. I think that's the important thing, is you get to look at the suite of skills that are attached to this and you decide when you need them. You know, it's like, okay, I don't have to take this skill that gives me willpower until end of the round in preparation for the Mythos phase, or I don't have to take this deduction until I'm properly positioned in a location with enough clues to make use of it. So I think that's the real power of this. Like, having the access to them is good, but being able to select from them, you know what I mean? It's not like you're grabbing them at random or anything.
So if you are taking this to like really grab something specific, you got a combo, you got a really powerful skill that you bought, something like that. Has anyone run like the hypergeometrics on this? If you have 2 of copies and you've got your skills down to 10, what are your odds of drawing one of those skills out of 5?
6.
It's got to be pretty solid.
I have no idea. It's probably good.
I'm sure someone's done it.
Yeah. Twining away at it.
Yeah. Oh,
John.
right, that. Sorry. Ariadne's Twine is a Seeker, level 3 Seeker asset. 2 intellect icons, ritual traded, uses 0 secrets. Secrets on Ariadne's Twine can be spent as if they were on any asset controlled by an investigator at your location. Squiggly Boy, exhaust Ariadne's Twine. Sorry, that's just like, that was the name of my Zydeco band in high school, by the way. Move 1 secret from an asset you control to your resource pool as a resource. And I feel like this is the most important thing on here, or vice versa. It takes up an arcane slot.
Secrets are very interesting.
Yeah.
Huh.
Can be spent as if they're on any asset controlled by an investigator. I like that.
Okay, so you can basically pay a resource to add a secret to Ariadne, whoever this person's twine is, and then you can use it as if it's anywhere at your location. So if you're like another seeker or someone else has something secrets-wise, I think this is pretty good. If you build around it.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, other than Seeker, how many classes have secret stacking cards? You know
Mystics.
what I mean? Mystic has a couple.
There's a few in Mystic, yeah.
But that's really... does Grimm's Fairy Tales use secrets? I don't know. But yeah, that's interesting. Like, I think if you're putting this in your deck, you're using it for your own secret cards. Like, you are going ham on secrets.
I mean,
and this is the cherry on the cake. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I
Taboo
feel like
Scroll Secrets? Huh?
or Skull
sure.
of Prophecies, or if like your Agnes is running Forbidden Knowledge, as your Agnes probably will be.
Yeah.
I
Scrying Mirror.
I think probably 9 times out of 10 you're planning to use this on your own cards, but I love it when the design goes in this direction, because kind of coordinating actual mechanics between decks is a thing I really miss in playing multiplayer in like Lord of the Rings, which did it a lot more directly and more often. So I love it whenever whenever the design goes in this direction. I think it opens up kind of almost like 3D deck building.
Okay, Nick, how about this? Book of Psalms in Carolyn.
Is that secrets?
It is.
Oh, cool. Yeah, sure. There, but I mean that's one card in Guardian.
Yeah. I mean,
So-
I think you'd take, if you want to like really go hard on the Psalms, you would take this in. Oh wait, no, can she take it? I don't think
Carolyn
she
can't take this. No.
Carolyn can't take it
No,
now.
yeah.
But a teammate could.
Yeah.
But that's what I mean. Like, then that teammate is the only reason they would, like, if Carolyn's running Book of Psalms and is like, hey, you should take Ariadne's Twine, that Seeker is going to be like, well, I guess I'll just build a secret deck then. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
you
Which they
wouldn't.
probably want to do anyway.
But no, I'm not saying that you. Yeah, but I'm just saying, like, this isn't something that any Seeker puts in because
Right.
they're like, oh, the
Yeah.
Guardian has Book of Psalms, I'll take this for 3 experience. Like, that's not going to happen unless you were already building for secrets, like you were saying, Sean. Unless you're already playing in 3D space with your deck
right.
construction,
This is not higher education.
right? Right, exactly.
What about
That's all I was
Forbidden
getting.
Knowledge? So you can turn a resource into a secret and then use Forbidden Knowledge to turn that secret back into a resource.
Back into a resource.
I mean, then you're just playing with yourself.
One other notable one I want to say outside of Seeker, because like everyone knows there's tons of Seeker ones, but in Mystic is Diana Esperance.
Oh yeah, that's right. She's secret. Ooh, and she's good.
That's
Yeah.
strong. That's
Yeah.
strong. Holy cow, that's strong.
You can
Who
get
can
a
take
you can get
both?
Lola.
Lola, and she can't trigger
Perfect.
both in the same turn unless you have it
Perfect.
really well set up.
But I think with this card, because it just creates a blanket, so secrets on Area and Twine can be spent as if they were on any asset controlled by an investigator location. So any secrets on the Twine could be spent by Lola to use Diana, as long as the Diana card is a Mystic card.
Right.
Yeah. You wouldn't have to be in Seeker, then switch to whatever. So,
All right.
Yeah.
yeah.
Interesting. And then the last, well, not the last, but the next full card that we had revealed in this article is Justify the Means, which is a 3 experience rogue skill card. It's practiced and cursed traded. You may commit Justify the Means to any type of test. As an additional cost to commit Justify the Means to a skill test, add curse tokens to the Chaos Bag equal to the test's difficulty. This test automatically succeeds. That's rogue. That's rogue.
Terrible. After my last experience with curses, terrible.
To be
Spoiler
fair,
alert for Outer Gods talk.
to be fair, the curses from that experience were caused by weaknesses more so than player cards.
Most of them, yes.
I think this is cool.
I like it, especially as a tech card in a campaign where you know near the end you might have to take a big willpower test, like
Yes.
the Umerdoth agenda flip. You know, like, yeah.
Or even just for Finn to get over Frozen in Fear.
Yep. Yeah,
Yep.
totally. Take 3 curse tokens to avoid losing an action every single turn.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
I don't
or,
think. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, or in Innsmouth to get rid of those bloody dreams of Ryla, the ones that that hinder your willpower and force a willpower test to get rid of.
Aren't those
That's
just dandy?
fun.
I mean, there are no noxious fumes, but yeah, they're pretty bad. Nick, this is great in, no test in Preston.
Oh my god,
That deck is
I
really
want
right
it now.
Yeah, but the problem is, Nick, you have to get XP first.
Oh, you're right.
You have to win some scenarios.
Newman.
Yeah. I like it. I think
Yeah.
probably a one of, though. Like, it just feels to me
Yeah.
like just that... unless...
It's your ace in the hole for a very important test, because there in the game, there are just some times where you're like, if I hit this test, I turn the tide, or I keep the tide, or, you know, there are those really key moments. And to be able to just completely be like, all right, Chaos Bag, nah.
Yeah.
Even though it will make it ostensibly worse in the future, that could still very well be worth it.
I think it's a one of the first time you get it, but then I think a few scenarios later, it's not necessarily an auto go to 2, but it's more like, I can see myself spending 3 more for this. You know what I mean? Like, after 3 or 4 scenarios, when you're later, you probably have a little bit more... Well, I mean, I don't want to reveal my experience too much, but you probably have a little bit more trauma. You're probably, you know, not doing as well on the... I don't know. I wouldn't be upset going 2 of with this. For most, I keep going back to the low willpower rogues. You know what I mean? I keep going back to that, and I'm like, I would love to have 2 copies of this in Finn, in Preston,
and looking at it from another angle, where maybe curses are a thing you're actually playing around with, and they aren't just always adding bad things to your test. Like, if your seeker is trying to get that tome translated, then like hopping to the 6th shroud location and popping this on an investigate test could fill the bag right quick, and let them do it. So I don't know. We're going to talk about it as we go through this entire cycle's worth of player cards, but I continue to be intrigued by the amount of actual strategy and nuance there is to bless and curse stuff as it releases.
Yeah. We also got a card fan, of which we can read a few. I mean, Ancestral Knowledge is one of them, so that one's out of the bag. But Hallow is on here. I'm gonna go ahead and read 2 in a row.
See, I thought she was greeting us. Hello.
Oh, nope. This is a 3 experience Guardian event. Costs 3 resources. Has a will and a wild icon. Spell and blessed traded, so Mateo can take it. As an additional cost to play Hallow, return a total of 10 blessed tokens to the token pool from the Chaos Bag or sealed on cards in play. Remove 1 doom from any card in play. I don't like this one.
That's okay. It's a good effect, but that's a really high bar to clear.
Yeah, and it requires you have to spend experience on it. You have to spend 3 to play it. You have to get the setup, which means, I mean, you can pull from seal, which is nice, so you can kind of guarantee that some will be there. But I foresee more than a significant number of turns where you are holding on to this thing, and you see opportunities to play it, but a test pulls a blessed token out of the bag, and then you're like, God damn it! Like, now I gotta get that thing back in there. How do I do that? You know what I mean? Like, it's it's tough.
Well. Think about this. Oh shoot. Okay. I mean, here's the combo. It's
Sanctification.
Well, that would help. God, what is it? It's the mystic event that turns all curses to blesses, and then at the end of the round turns all blesses to curses.
Isn't that Survivor?
Oh yeah, the
Tides
Mystic.
of Fate.
It's a Mystic card. Yeah, it's a Mystic event because I have it in my
Tides of Fate.
in my
So
Mary deck.
you could potentially seed, and then have like 1 copy of this in your deck, 2 Tides of Fate. You pull them together at some point late in the game, and then basically after you play Tides of Fate and you remove everything from the bag, then the negative part of Tides of Fate never happens. So yeah, I mean, it's a combo thing, but
yeah, I think Big Kahuna makes a point here, and I think like a lot of chat is saying like it costs 3 resources and 3 XP and an action, and you have to have 10 blessed tokens, and those 10 blessed tokens have to get into the bag through actions and probably XP and resources and stuff like that. But Big Kahuna says the only way to make it worth it is to abuse it degenerately. And I think I kind of agree with that, and I'm scared to see that, but I'm also really excited to see when this card eventually gets broken somehow with some stupid looping non-taboo combo.
I mean, the fact that it's 3 experience already limits its ability to be played degenerately pretty hard, because just by the nature of the class, Guardian Guardian's the play by the rules class. You know what I mean? Like they don't have a lot of stuff that's going to encourage I don't want to say encourage degenerate play, but you know what I mean. Like they don't have a lot of stuff that breaks the regular rhythms of the game.
Or as Gorfax says in Mateo in scenario 1. But yeah.
You know, that's fair. That's fair.
No, it is blessed,
I think that's where you're going to see, you know, that joke that I say every time I see a blessed trait. River's calling me out on it too. That joke that I say every time I see a blessed trait, and then I forget that Mateo can take it, and then I immediately forget that Mateo can indeed take this at first level. So
yeah, I feel like we need the whole cycle before we can even start thinking about this card.
I mean,
I don't know.
Yeah.
I think
and it comes to us at the turn of the tide. I'm going to keep pounding away at that specific combo. I feel like that's the only way I'm looking at playing this. But like you said, we've got still a bunch of cards that we haven't even seen yet that will come before this hits our card pool.
Yeah, MJ really rolled the dice on this design.
Oh boy, Sean, do you want to parse out lucky dice for us? Since
I think we can probably make it happen. So level 3 lucky dice, or are they, is a rogue event. Yeah, it's an asset, maybe. It has a willpower and an agility icon. It has item and relic traits. It looks like it still has the exceptional keyword. And I believe it says, reaction when you reveal a non-curse, non-auto-fail chaos token. I'm going to assume add 1 curse token to the chaos bag. Ignore the just revealed token and reveal another one to resolve. If that token is a curse or auto-fail, return lucky dice to your hand. This cannot be ignored or canceled. And then it takes up the accessory slot.
So I rarely use lucky dice level 2. So I always forget what they do. But that one is you spend 2 resources. After you reveal any chaos token, spend 2 resources, ignore it unless it's... And then if it's the tentacle, you remove them from the game. But that's been... Has that been tabooed?
No. That one was mutated. No, that one was just like straight eroded.
It was eroded to clarify how it worked. Yeah. To work the way you think it should work.
Yeah, they changed the language to be more clear.
Yeah.
Sure, okay. So the difference now is that... level 3 lets you add a curse token to ignore anything except for curse and autofail instead of spending resources. But then it bounces it back to your hand. Okay, all right, interesting. Sure.
I think I like this one better because I don't have to spend money.
Yeah. I mean that's fair. If anybody has the money to spend, it's Rogue. It's funny how for this one, Scott, you like it better, but it's adding your least favorite token to the bag.
It is. I mean, I'm joking
but
about
it's just one.
It's just one. It's on 5.
Sure. No, I mean, hopefully you use it more than once.
Yeah.
But alligator mouth eats the 5 because it's greater than.
The fact that it bounces back to your hand rather than is removed from the game is, I think that's pretty big. It's not like it gets shuffled back into your deck. It doesn't get discarded. Like, you can play it again. Mm-hmm. So that's pretty powerful.
I think I'm okay with this. Yep. If I'm going to take lucky dice, if I'm going to take lucky dice, I'm going to take this one.
Right.
Thankfully, also, you could buy the lower level one and work up to this one. Like, if you're aiming for this one, you don't have to get it all in one shot. Like, you can buy for 4 and then go up by 2. Mm-hmm. But yeah, if I'm going the lucky dice route, I'm going to want to aim to end at this one.
Yes, totally.
I won't stay at the level 2 one very often.
I would say that you probably want to get to this one as soon as possible. If you're planning on including lucky dice, I don't even know if I'd look at the level 2 one too hard. Not unless I have a bad scenario and I don't have the full XP.
Yeah. I think it would only be used as a stepping stone.
Yes, 100%.
What's funny though is that unlike a lot of the Bless and Curse cards that we get, this one almost doesn't synergize with Curse the way the other ones do. I feel like if you're taking this, this is probably the only Curse play you want, because the more other Curse play you have, the worse this gets. So it's a little bit interesting in that way.
Totally. Indeed.
All right.
That's it for that article. The only other news that we have is just a reminder about FFG Play and Share. It's still going on. Take those pictures of you guys playing games, post on social media, tag with hashtag FFG Play and Share. And so that we can get more cool content unlocked for the games we love, like Arkham.
Like that one.
Mm-hmm.
Arkham? Seems like fun.
And like,
Arkham,
hey, that's my fish.
Yes.
Unlock the rainbow trout.
Hey, that's my fish LCG win.
Scott, any rules PSAs for the week?
Not really. I mean, Nick, there was the one that we were discussing before, so I guess I'll bring it up because it was kind of neat. But whenever the game refers to search the collection, it specifically means the collection that you used to build the deck that you're playing with. So if you're out at a game store and someone does the thing that FFG planned where they see, 3 of you playing Arkham and they're like, oh, can I join? You're like, yeah, sure, just grab one of those investigator decks. And they pick, I don't know, Stella. And they sit down and you go through and one of the effects says, search your collection for this type of weakness. Well, their collection at that point is the starter deck. And so if you can't find something, you don't add it.
Yep.
So it's kind of similar. There are ways, like, depending on what you own, sometimes the game will tell you to add a madness or a weakness or a madness or a hex weakness or something like that. You could possibly already have those all in your deck, and then you basically search your collection. There's nothing there that fits it, and it just doesn't happen.
Yeah, you're already at rock bottom. So
yeah,
what a great way to discourage future purchases.
Yeah.
Luckily, those effects are rare enough. Like, there's only been a few, I want to say a handful of them across all the cycles so far. So, it's not like when we do Iron Man Innsmouth, we're all buying new Investigator starter decks.
Yes. we're shredding our entire collection. Oh, God.
Then, of course, we all come
I'm not getting hypochondria.
We all come to the table with Stella, and we're like, God damn it.
Yeah.
Well, one of us is going to have to change.
Run quickly to the till at the FFG event center. What's left?
Well, we got 30 Harveys.
That'll do.
Yep.
Yeah.
Sure.
All right. Well, let's get into our main Tupac for the night then. We're going to talk about the Innsmouth Conspiracy box. So we're going to do player cards first, but just general spoiler alert from this point on. Nothing's holy. We're going to talk about everything. So if you're staying away from spoils, you probably want to hit pause for now. Let's do player cards first.
Yay!
Nick.
Yay!
Lead us off.
I'll lead us off with Sister Mary the Nun. She's the Guardian Investigator for the Innsmouth box. She has 4 will, 2 intellect, 3 combat, 3 evade. She's Believer and Blessed. Her game text reads, during setup, add 2 blessed tokens to the Chaos Bag. Reaction, when the round ends, add 1 blessed token to the Chaos Bag. Elder Sign effect, +1. If you succeed, add 1 blessed token to the Chaos Bag. She has 5 health and 9 sanity. We already talked about Sister Mary before, because she was one of the ones that was revealed pretty early on, I think, when Innsmouth was first announced. Mm-hmm. But now that I've had the chance to play her in a few scenarios, I like her. I think she's fun. She forces you to... Well, she doesn't force you to, but she encourages you to double down on the Bless mechanic and to use her Mystic off-class pretty heavily. Which is fine. I'm not complaining at all. It's fun.
Speaking of the Bless mechanic, should we touch her signatures before we dive too deep in?
We can do that. Go ahead, Sean.
Okay. Baby, my angel. She's got Guardian Angel. There we go. Sorry, I was just stalling until I pulled the link up. Guardian Angel is a 2-cost asset. It has a willpower, combat, and wild icon. It is ritual and blessed traded Sister Mary deck only. Guardian Angel may be assigned damage dealt to other investigators at your location and connecting locations. And then reaction, when any amount of damage is assigned to Guardian Angel, add that many blessed tokens to the Chaos Bag. And it has 3 health and null sanity.
And Scott, do you want to do the weakness?
Oh, do I ever? Crisis of Faith is a weakness. It is a treachery and madness traded revelation. For each blessed token in the chaos bag, you must either replace it with a curse token or take one horror. Hello,
Woof.
deny existence.
So, so
Yep.
I built Sister Mary and Father Mateo to work together. Like I'm running both of them through Innsmouth, and I was playing them just the other day, and it had been weeks since I built the decks, and I didn't look through the decks beforehand. I just sat down and played, and I drew the card we talked about previously, Tides of Fate, and I was like, why is this in my Sister Mary deck? Nobody's playing curses. And then I had that moment where I had 8 blessed tokens in the bag, and I draw Crisis of Faith, and I'm like, oh, that's why I put Tides of Fate in there. So I did that. I swapped them. Like, I put I swapped everything for curses, and then I played Tides of Fate and swapped them back for blesses. And I was like, all right, just a big test round. And of course, I think I got 2 of them out and ended up putting 6 curses back in the bag. But, it was a fun moment, like, where I was like, oh, cool, one of them, not directly, but is like a soft counter, as long as you can get those tokens out during the round.
Yeah. I find her ability... I'm gonna say that it is stronger in solo or low player counts than higher.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, sure. I was just gonna talk about that.
Yeah, I feel like at 4 player, like it's like when the round ends, add a blessed token to the chaos bag. It's like a bucket of water in the ocean with the amount of tests going on. But in solo, like those 2 you start with, and then 1 each, like. Mm-hmm. That's gonna
because you're like taking 2 tests a turn probably at that point.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah,
I am playing her in a 4-player campaign currently through the Dream Quest, and that is my exact problem. Is I've got all the blessed cards we're going to talk about in a minute, but Rite of Sanctification is probably my favorite one, and I'm like, oh yeah, I've got this in my hand. I'm going to get like 4 or 5 tokens on this and just help people pay for stuff. And then people take their turns and they keep drawing my blesses, and I'm like, guys, stop. Guys, stop. Just don't. Stop. Just leave them in, please. And I feel like you get to plan less for the blesses in higher player counts just because of that.
Right. Yeah.
They're just coming out more often.
I found myself in the few 4-player games I've played of this with Sister Mary. Like getting past 4 or 5 blessed tokens in the bag is uncommon, but
it's a feat.
But the solo campaign I've ran her in, like I've gotten up to 8 or 9 in the bag because I haven't been testing, or I test and I haven't been touching them, or I've gotten an elder sign or 2, and I'm just like, when am I going to see these blessed tokens? And then of course it's bless, auto fail, but yeah.
So another big thing I think to comment on is that Sister Mary, I think for the most part, kind of wants to push you toward enemy management. You definitely can lean harder on her purple access and go the clue gathering route, or sprinkle some in if you're going solo. But I think for the most part, the blessed cards, her faction, her stat line, generally push you toward enemy management, except for that 5 health.
Yep.
I think that's one of the biggest things that you have to build and plan for, to make sure you have enough soak and enough, things to guard your health, because she is squishy.
Luckily, as you said, she has guard dogs. So
yes.
Yeah.
Guard
Suddenly
dogs,
she's
guardian
an
angels.
11-9. Yeah.
She can take deny existence, which is nice.
Yeah.
So, Scott, have you made the Nun with the Gun deck yet?
Well,
you talk about it.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, Jesus, take the Winchester. I think it's almost there. I want to get the full suite of blessed cards out to see how many blessed tokens I can get in the bag, so the Winchester reliably hits. Some of the previewed cards of I think the 5th pack, the Favor of the Sun. Is that in that one?
I think so. It hasn't come out yet.
I think that's going to be a key card in that deck. I don't think it's going to work in multiplayer, because I know we were talking me maybe taking it when we did War of the Outer Gods. But I'm like, guys, at 4 players, especially with Nick and Ian considering putting curses in the bag, I'm like, I'm not going to draw blessed tokens. And so this Winchester is going to be the worst gun ever. So I think it needs to be maybe a 2-player game and a lot more blessed tech. And yeah, then I think Jesus Takes the Winchester can be a deck, but I don't think it's quite ready.
But why
I definitely think it's a gym deck, not a Mary deck.
Yeah, I was gonna say, why fight with the Winchester when you could just take the Thompson and be like, all right, let's go?
Because it's fun.
Sure. And the +2 damage is huge. I can see how that's like a carrot. You know what I mean?
Oh, Sean, or Nick, you're right. Like, don't get me wrong. You are correct. This is a jank deck, right? Like, this is like a haha, look at me, I'm Winchestering.
Right. I mean, you're talking to the guy who played Time Worn Brand and Amanda.
Yeah,
you sure are.
Yeah.
So yeah, I totally understand. But yeah, that's just like, it's like, she has access to good, like, Winchester aside, and the cards that you need to make that quote-unquote reliable. She has access to a lot of great stuff for enemies. Guardian and Mystic. So, the only thing, like, the reason why I tend to shy away from it in Guardian is just because she's 3 combat, which it isn't, that's not bad. Yeah. But it's lower than you want if you're going into guns as your primary way of dealing with enemies.
I mean, you did take Amanda, who was combat of 2.
But she has everything of 2. That's, when you're right, and you're right. I did.
So to that end, like, yeah, I think you probably want to take weapons of some kind, whether you go guns or whether you go blades. But I've been throwing in shriveling. Because I feel like why not? She's got the willpower for it. One of my first upgrades was upgraded Bandolier, because I am rocking Thompsons and Winchesters in the deck that I'm currently playing. So
Thompsons
you get one of those
and Winchesters?
Yeah, well, just to make sure I get something in 2 hands, and I've got Bandolier, so why not?
Sure, okay.
But then you get the willpower boost, and then all of a sudden her shrivelings are firing at 5s. And I feel like she can be she's got a lot of backups. She can be very redundant in her enemy management, because I feel like probably above almost everyone except for maybe Diana, she can just fill a lot of slots with enemy management.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and not only that, but she loves ethereal form and spectral razor. Like, those are she's testing at 7 with those, just natural. So yeah, there's a lot. You could
also fill your arcane slots with Mind's Eye and start using her willpower as combat.
No, sure.
Oh,
and then start blasting that way. Yep.
I don't know. She's interesting, and the other thing I think is that she is the investigator. That, I mean, obviously, it's very obvious. I'm saying a very, very obvious thing here, but she's just the investigator who wants you to play with the blessed stuff, and she helps you seed the bag. Right. And she helps you keep the bag full, whereas if you're playing with blesses in any other investigator, you've got to pull those in externally. You've got to have events or assets that are doing it, whereas she, as her ability, is just like, hey, replenish your bless play just by her being there.
Yeah, so she chokes the engine.
Yeah,
and then
exactly.
All right.
Nick.
Scott? Me?
Yeah, why don't you play her?
Oh, sure.
Give us a
all
Branda.
Right. I'll read a Branda Sharp. Amanda Sharp is the student who has been studying the blade. She has a stat line of 2 will, 2 intellect, 2 combat, 2 agility. Her traits are Miskatonic and Scholar. And her game text reads, forced. At the start of the investigation phase, draw 1 card. Discard the card beneath Amanda Sharp. Wait, how did a card get beneath her? Well, let's find out. Choose a card from your hand and place it beneath her.
But wait, there's more!
Yeah. Reaction. At the start of a skill test you're performing, commit the card beneath Amanda Sharp if able. I was going to call her Amanda Shark. That's not true. It's Amanda Sharp. Do not discard it when the test ends. Elder Sign effect +0. For this test, you may double the number of skill icons on the card beneath Amanda Sharp.
So she has been errataed, so that reaction is now forced. So at the start of a skill test, you must commit the card underneath her.
Oh,
that's the change.
If able.
So you couldn't choose.
That promise of power now is literally every single test. Interesting. Yep. Okay. Yeah.
It's now
Do we want to
coercion
do
of power.
signatures?
Well, she's also secret cards 0 to 5, neutral 0 to 5, but practice skill 0 to 3.
Right.
That's the like Silas, but practice instead of innate, and seeker instead of survivor.
All right.
Sean,
Yeah, and
do
then
you
let's
wanna-
let's go signatures. So Obscure Studies is her signature event. It's 0 cost. It has 1, 2, 3 wild icons. It's insight traded, Amanda Sharp deck only. Fast play when you initiate a skill test. Return the card beneath Amanda Sharp to your hand, and place Obscure Studies beneath her. So you're saving an important card that you tucked, and then you're supercharging a test, because testing at 5 is a pretty decent place to be. At 5 plus whatever else you got going on.
Yeah.
Right.
Like maybe you're using your upgrade deduction, you use it twice, and then on your, like if you have a location that's just full of clues, like one of those, a 4-player game, there's like 20 clues on the location. Like was it Blood on the Altar, when you get into the
Yeah.
Yes.
get in the room with Silas there. So upgrade deduction, and then on your third test you switch this with your upgrade deduction, so that next turn you can tuck upgrade deduction again.
Yep.
Yeah.
Scott, do you want to read Whispers from the Deep?
Sure do. Terrifying picture.
Yeah.
Like just the worst art, but also the best. But
Not a fan.
Whispers of the Deep is a weakness. It's curse traded. It is a skill with a black and white wild icon. This skill's icons subtract from your skill value instead of adding to it. Forced. When choosing a card to place beneath Amanda Sharp, if Whispers from the Deep is in your hand, you must choose it.
So you can stack Whispers from the Deep underneath Amanda, and then start the and then like first turn swap it with Obscure Studies, right?
Yes. But then you'd then
but then it's in your hand again.
Yep. What you should do instead is just, while it's in your hand, just chuck it to any test you don't care about.
Yeah.
Right.
Or to your friend's test, right? Same location.
That's, fair.
Yeah.
Amanda's really fun. I like her a lot. I love that kind of... It makes you... To go back to something that Sean always talks about, it really makes you look at skill icons pretty hard, obviously, when you're building for Amanda. And, like, I'm trying to dance around a Branda, because I did not build that deck very well. I should have had more overpowers in that deck, and I didn't. I think that's ultimately what it comes
Should have
down
had
to.
any overpowers in that deck.
I was looking at it, and I was like, I don't need the card draw. Well, get rid of them. Let's put in Eureka.
I think icon displacement or placement or there was a word I was looking for there. I missed it by a mile. Not turning back for it. But your icons really matter in a way that a lot of investigators don't care about.
Right.
I really love Amanda. I love any investigator whose function just makes me play differently, and she is a completely unique experience in how she plays. So I love her for that.
Yeah, and I just remember the time that you and I played, Sean, when we were playing Labyrinth of Lunacy.
When you William telled me right in the face.
Yes. Yep. And the amount of cards you were drawing was obscene with Amanda. Because I think you put upgraded perception underneath her at one point, and you get to the end of the turn, and you're at like 14 cards, and you're like, I'm like, oh shoot, what do I do?
I put charisma in that deck simply so I could put my other laboratory assistant down.
Yeah. She draws a lot of cards.
Yeah. She does. When you build her, particularly with the innate skills, or the I guess some of them are practiced. The important ones that she wants to take are in fact practiced. With Eurekas and perceptions specifically, she can just draw boatloads of cards.
Mm-hmm.
And for not much XP, I feel like you can get a really good Amanda deck standalone. You can get it rolling at 9 XP, and it can be really solid at 19.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Well, she feels very much like Silas.
Yeah.
Like just in that kind of build where you don't need a lot of XP. Yeah, to, like you said, get her rolling. So you just draw so many cards, right? Like, I feel like a lot of the times, like, if you're playing Guardian, you spend a lot of XP on a big weapon because, you want to get that asset out and use it multiple times. So you dump a lot into one asset, but you need a few of those assets, and you need some of the supports to make that work. Whereas I find, like, Amanda and Silas, you're drawing so many cards from the cards that you put in your deck that it's not about the quality of one card, it's the volume of, like, all the cards you're bringing in. So
it's the intense flexibility you get from seeing so many options.
Right, like, if you see 5 or 6 cards a turn, that can be just as valuable or more so valuable than a single flamethrower, right? But you're doing this every single turn and churning through your deck and passing tests and getting bonuses and everything like that. Like, it snowballs quite a bit.
The other thing that I think I found that she pushed me in the direction of, so my face check campaign for Innsmouth so far has been Silas and Amanda. 2 players, so they're each flexing a little bit, but Amanda's really leaning toward clues.
That is also my face check campaign, by the way.
It's a fun duo.
Yeah.
It's a fun duo. Particularly because, I don't know if I've said this on the podcast yet, but one of my favorite things about this campaign is Amanda very early on took the Dream Diary, because the Dream Diary is amazing in Amanda. But Silas's basic weakness was kleptomania. So now just about every scenario I've played since Amanda took the Dream Diary, Silas nicks it, and then Silas gets to play with the Dream Diary for the rest of the game. And it's actually very good in Silas too, so it's pretty amazing.
Wow.
But anyway, the thing that Amanda I found she pushed me toward is really looking at the double skill icon cards, particularly double intellect cards. And luckily Seeker has a fair few of them. But there were a lot of cards that I normally wouldn't really look at strongly putting in a deck unless I was synergizing with them. I'm trying to think, like, what's the card that you only ever draw in upkeep? Is it Cryptic Writings?
Cryptic Writing, yeah. The one that when you draw it, you can play it.
If you draw it during your turn.
Right.
Which is why I only ever draw it in freaking upkeep, and it's amazing. But anyway, my point being, even though I only ever draw that card during upkeep, when I do, I'm like, oh, hey, cool. 2 icons. That's next turn. Like, that's it sorted. Like, one card gets me ready to go for more clue gathering. And then when she needs to go into fight mode, I have a couple options for what she does there. But I think that even marginal cards, as long as they have good icons, become much better in Amanda.
Sure.
She can also take 3 aces.
I know. I was reading what Lord Batboy just said in chat, and I was like, why didn't I go Daredevil 3 aces?
With practice makes perfect.
With practice
to draw
makes
the
perfect.
3 aces, yeah.
Why didn't I do that? Oh my god, that's so good.
That's good.
Sean, do you want to read Trish?
Hit me. Sure, let's go. Trish Scarborough. She's the spy. She's our rogue investigator. She has 2 willpower, 4 intellect, 2 combat, and 4 agility. Super solid spread. She has agency and detective's traits. Reaction: after you discover 1 or more clues at a location with an enemy, either discover 1 additional clue at that location, or automatically evade that enemy once per round. And then her Elder Sign is +2. If this is an investigation, you may choose any revealed location. You are now investigating as if you were at that location. As if. And then she has 8 health and 6 sanity. Her deck building's pretty straightforward. 30 cards. Rogue 0 to 5. Neutral 0 to 5. Seeker 0 to 2.
Her signature card is In the Shadows. It is a tactic event, 0 cost, 2 agility icons, and 2 wild icons. Trish Scarborough deck only, fast, play after your turn begins, disengage from each enemy engaged with you. Until the end of the round, enemies cannot engage you, and you cannot deal damage to enemies. End of the round.
Hey, it's good on the lamb.
Yes.
I'm going to do my best not to sing the Rasmus every time we talk about this card, but I'm just going to warn you guys, I'm probably going to fail.
Okay.
And her weakness is Shadow Agents, an enemy, 3 combat, 3 health, 5 evade, humanoid, cultist, prey, Trish Scarborough only, hunter. While shadow agents is engaged with you, you cannot discover clues except by investigating. Forced, after shadow agents is evaded, discard it. Deals 2 damage. Wow, Trish, I haven't played with her yet, but boy, she sure looks powerful.
Yeah, so
She is.
Working a hunch, like fast, 2 cost, discover a clue, exhaust the boss enemy is really good.
Oh my god, it's non-elite, or it's not non-elite. That's insane.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Jeez.
We're gonna talk about it in a bit, but when you get obfuscation down and she can cancel attacks of opportunity very, very easily. Like, the shenanigans that you can do with her ability are pretty awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But the fact that she's built-in Rex, and she also has built-in what is it? In the Know. It's her Elder Sign ability, but still, like,
wait till you play In the Know with Trish. Particularly in multiplayer, when you've got other people drawing enemies at other locations and opening up the board with clues for you to see. Like, someone can get stuck with an enemy during Mythos, but there's clues on their location. They'd be like, hey, Trish, handle this, please. You'd be like,
That's
okay,
insane.
cool. I grab a clue. That enemy's handled. You're welcome.
You know what would be a really amazing game to play? Actually, you know what? We could do this with War of the Outer Gods because of the amount of enemies, or just any scenario with lots of enemies coming in, is you have Min and Trish hole up with a level 3 barricade, and they just have In the Know, and Trish is just like Min is throwing her skill cards to everyone with the her signature card, which I always forget what it is. I can see the art.
Analytical mind.
Analytical mind. And then you have Trish, like, in the knowing stuff and just, like, point-click evading stuff for other people. Oh, my God. It's just, like, those two in the headquarters, whatever location you decide is the headquarters, and the other 2 people just running around murdering things. Oh, like in Blob. Imagine them in Blob.
Yeah. Or like in Blob, or if you've got a situation where either an enemy spawns at a location that has clues and it's empty, or you spawn at an enemy at a location and you evade and move away, and then you use In the Know to investigate there, and you don't care about evading the enemy, so you just get 2 clues. And like the flexibility of the things you can do and the tempo you can cultivate out of Trish is just fantastic.
Yep.
Scott,
Lord Batboy and yes.
I think I was going to say that. I was going to say Big Kahuna bring a guardian with handcuffs for Trish.
Because
there's some explain that to me.
Okay, so
God.
You and I are playing, you're Roland, because obvious. And you have your handcuffs and you handcuff an enemy. Trish can then engage that enemy, but they would still stay evaded. And now I can just drag that evaded enemy around with me, so I can always trigger Trish's ability to discover either additional clue or evade another enemy, obviously. But essentially I can trigger her discover an additional clue every single turn I want, because I will always have an enemy with me, but that enemy is evaded, so it doesn't matter.
Wait. Oh, okay, I see, because it's after you discover a clue at a location with an enemy. I see. That's... wow. That's insane.
Yeah.
Handcuffs and a leash.
Yep, pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
Now she's like Michonne from Walking Dead.
Yes.
Dragging the zombies around.
Her enemy, her signature weakness, I find is actually kind of rough to deal with. Unless I have her signature card with me, so I can just evade it in one shot. Or you have obfuscation, so that you don't take the attack of opportunity. I feel like
I was gonna say, like, one experience gets you Cat Burglar.
Yeah. Cat Burglar doesn't evade them, though.
Oh, he doesn't. No, you're right. He just disengages and lets you move or whatever.
But it's also like this. Yeah, there's so many other cards in the game, though, that just evade enemies, that if you are playing in multiplayer, I'm sure someone can tech a card in or two. Like, oh, I drew Shadow Agents. Oh, yeah, don't worry about it. I'll handle it before you take your turn.
Well, Rogue has to... I'm struggling to think of it, but there has to be cards. There has to be stuff that Trish can take to take the sting off of Shadow Agents, to take the edge off of a little
How about In the Shadows?
Well, no, like, more than one in your deck. You know what I mean? Yes, you're right. In the Shadows would work, and Scott mentioned that. But I'm trying to think of stuff that's automatically evade an enemy at your location.
What's the pay 2 to evade something, pay 4 to evade...
Decoy.
Decoy.
Yeah, Decoy.
Thank you. Yeah. Like, if you don't have...
Which is perfect spy subterfuge, right?
Right.
Yeah. If you don't have something to deal with it right away, I find it difficult. Like, her base stats aren't great at dealing with this. Like, you need to have a plan for it. It's easy. If you do have that plan in hand, it's fine. It's when you don't have that plan.
All right.
Yeah.
Scott, do you want to read Dexter?
How about I leave that for Sean, and I'll read... Oh, wait, no, we have Silas.
Oh,
I'm reading Dexter. No, too bad.
What? Fine.
All right. Dexter Drake is a mystic sorcerer and veteran. 5 willpower, 2 intellect, 3 combat, 2 agility. Ziggy boy, zappy boy, fast trigger action. During your turn,
Execution window.
Yeah. During your turn, discard an asset you control. Play an asset with a different title from your hand, reducing its cost by 1, limit once per round. An Elder Sign effect, +2, you may return an asset from your play area to your hand. Then draw 1 card. 6 health, 8 sanity. And his deck building is 30 cards, Mystic 0 to 5, Rogue 0 to 2, Neutral 0 to 5.
Mm-hmm.
Sean, do you want to read Showmanship?
Surely. Showmanship is his signature asset. It's 1 cost. It has a combat, an agility, and an intellect. A wild icon. That's not intellect. It could be though, because it's wild.
If you want it to be.
Talent traded. Depends on how you're feeling. Dexter Drake deck only. Reaction: after an asset enters play under your control, until the end of the round, you get +2 to each of your skills while resolving a triggered ability on that asset. Round us out, Nick.
Sure. Occult Scraps is it's an asset, costs 0 resources. It is Dexter Drake's weakness. Item traded. Occult Scraps cannot be played using a play action. While Occult Scraps is in your hand, you get -2 will. While Occult Scraps is in play, you get -1 will. Interesting. So Sean, you've logged a lot of games with Dexter. I guess I don't know if Scott has or not. But
I've dabbled.
Okay.
I have one campaign under my deck, or under my belt, so let's
Sure,
be fair.
that's a
Dexter's
lot.
actually probably the mystic I've touched least aside from Mateo.
That's a lot in my book, a full campaign. How do you feel about Showmanship and Occult Scraps versus whatever the heck the book came with?
Molly and the other
And
thing.
yeah, the Magnificent Morgana.
Sure.
Yeah. Okay, so I think his basic signatures are more interesting. I think they're probably generally, I hate to boil everything down to better or worse, but I think in general they are probably more effective.
Sure.
Morgana's great if you've got a kind of a lack of card draw, or if you've got a very specific card or combo that you want to pull together, because she is great fetch for a very specific thing.
Sure.
But when you're playing Dexter, what tends to happen is you're kind of, as you might imagine, you're popping things into play and then hard going in, using those things, popping the next thing into play, and it's just kind of prestidigitation in that way. And it feels really kind of dynamic and good. So the idea that you would pop a thing into play and then supercharge it essentially on your skill tests that turn is pretty solid.
Well, and not only that, but gosh, every time you play an asset, he gets that boost. So if you play more than one asset that they both use the same skill, you wouldn't double up on the bonus, would you?
You only get the skill boost while you're using the ability on that asset.
Oh, sure.
So, and you can only,
so you
since you can't stack abilities, so, well, I mean, maybe there's a way to, but
I think the wording on the card, but the fact that, like, it doesn't exhaust or anything like that, to me, showmanship seems really powerful. Granted, it relies on you playing the assets, but, I mean, it's Arkham Horror. Everyone plays assets. And Dexter plays them a lot.
And I think the weakness is a little less harsh. The main weakness is a little less harsh than the replacement weakness. If you're set up and ready to go, Yaztaroth isn't a big deal because that's the one that just hops into play. You cannot put into play assets, 2 actions to get rid of it. So if you've got your kit set up and you're rolling, that's nothing or next to nothing. You'll take care of it when you have a couple actions. But if you're kind of trying to stay dynamic and you wanted to pop something out this turn, when that hops out, it's like, and I've got an enemy, and that just like it can really mess up your day. Whereas the scraps are still a thing. They're gonna hit your biggest and most important stat, but you can still play.
Right. Yeah, they don't seem terrible. Like they seem more like a nuisance to me than anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, I found them more as a nuisance the 2 games I played with him. So I have a super fun combo with showmanship.
Go on.
So Diana Esperance
Love it.
and using something like Spectral Razor. Because you get
oh,
+4.
yeah.
Yeah.
Jeez.
It's pretty fun.
I mean, not like adding 5 to your skill test isn't already basically putting you in auto success territory, but that's I do love turning things to 11.
Yeah, or whatever the other ones are, like the clue and the
read the signs and ethereal form.
Yeah.
So I think kind of getting to Dexter as a whole, what I have found is that he really, really, really speeds up cards. So in a lot of cases, there are cards that we've reviewed or we've looked at or possibly even played where we're like, I like this. It's too slow. The action to play it, the action to use it, it's just too slow.
Oh, sure.
So like the main one that I'm thinking of that I actually had great success with in Dexter as a resource engine is Alchemical Transmutation.
God, I was going to slap you when you said you were bringing that to our campaign. And then it ended up being okay.
It's I only played with level 0 in that game. I don't think I got to upgrading yet. But once you get to upgrading it, it is really good. But that card is. I'll just use that as an example. This applies to lots of different cards that you might play in Dexter. But that card is in general very slow. You got to play it out. You got to spend an action to use it, and then you're also you're adhered to the wills of the Chaos Bag, which is its own thing.
Yeah.
But if you're playing it for free without an action. And then that card, when it's no longer useful to you, is the thing you use to pop out and reduce the cost of the next thing you play. Like, suddenly the value proposition on a card like that is completely changed. So yeah, try Alchemical Transmutation in Dexter. I played a big money Dexter that had, like, well-connected and high roller for stat boosters and then popped in and out tests or spells. And it's just a grand old time.
Nice. All right, Scott. Take us to C.
Oh, well, I think Sean should actually read him for 2 reasons, because I stole Dexter, and also Sean played Silas in our Ursula and Silas.
I got it reversed in my head. I thought that he had read down. Okay, Sean, take us to C.
Silas was my second love in the Arkham Mythos. Lily Chen was the first one that I really attached to in Eldritch Horror, and then I really took a liking to Silas before I eventually found Diana. I mean, right? Like, oof. Anyway, Silas Marsh is, of course, the Sailor. He's a survivor, investigator. He's got 2 willpower, 2 intellect, 4 combat, 4 agility. He's drifter traded. Reaction, after you reveal a chaos token. During a skill test that you are performing, return a skill you committed to this test to your hand once per round. Elder Sign, to my mind, one of the better Elder Signs in the game.
Yes.
It is a party when this effect goes off.
Oh, yes.
So his Elder Sign is +0. You may commit a skill from your discard pile to this test, and after this test ends, return that skill to your hand instead of discarding it.
Yes, that
He's got
sounds amazing.
it's so good. Yeah, 9 health and 5 sanity. He can take Survivor 0 to 5, Neutral 0 to 5, and then Innate Skills 0 to 2. And then he's got his Harpoon, his Net, Siren Call, and a basic weakness. So
His Harpoon, the Sea Change Harpoon, 3-cost asset, combat and wild icons, item, weapon, and melee traded. Silas Marsh deck only. Action fight, you get +1 combat for this attack. If you committed 1 or more skills to this test, which you probably did, this attack deals +1 damage. When this skill test ends, you may return Sea Change Harpoon to your hand to return all of your committed skills to your hand instead of discarding them, and it takes up a hand slot.
Nice.
Fun interaction with his ability is you can commit a skill, and then pull it back, and this still does +1 damage because you did commit a card.
Oh, I love lasting effects in Silas. They're my favorite.
Yep.
By that same token, we have Silas's Net, which is a 2-cost asset, agility, wild icons, item, tool, traded, Silas Marsh deck only, action, evade, you get +1 agility for this evasion attempt. If you succeed and you committed 1 or more skills to the skill test, you may automatically evade another enemy engaged with you when the skill test ends, blah, blah, blah. It's the same thing as a Harpoon, but it's for evading, guys. Awesome.
Well, kind of, yeah. Automatically evade another enemy engaged with you is pretty sweet. Instead of +1 damage. Yeah.
Well, no, I know, but it's not...
Like, but the discarding.
The returning.
Yeah.
The returning.
Yeah.
It functions the same way as what you would expect when you think of an evade booster. Like, the combat boosters add damage. Evade boosters, what do? They usually evade another enemy.
Yeah.
Which is hit and miss in how useful that's going to be, in my experience. Sean, you want to read Siren Call?
Siren Call is his signature weakness. It is a treachery. It has curse trait. Revelation, put Siren Call into your threat area. As an additional cost to commit 1 or more cards to a skill test, you must pay 1 resource for each matching skill icon those cards have. And then double action, discard Siren Call.
Best part of this weakness is your friend can get rid of it for you.
Yes. 100%.
Before you go to work. You know, like...
yeah, I find that that Silas in general, just because of he wants to work with skills, he's a survivor, he tends to run pretty resource light.
Mm-hmm.
And as soon as this comes into play, it is generally a pretty big thing to have to pay, two resources to commit the card you were looking to use.
You could have named this card Pull the E-Brake, and it would have been just as... My hot take on Silas, just throwing this out there, I think the best way to play Silas is with both sets of SIGs and weaknesses.
I was just going to throw that question out there. Is kind of same question that Nick asked about Drake.
Yeah.
You think both in general? I think
both.
I'm running him currently with I can't remember who I'm playing. Oh, I'm playing opposite Rex. And I'm running both in him, and yeah, I've enjoyed it so far. Siren Call's a bitch.
Yeah. I feel like Dreams of the Deep, is that his replacement?
Yes.
Yeah.
That one, if you get it at the wrong moment, it can be a bit of a bummer. I have not found it like crazy hard to get rid of. It does require a little bit of like extra committal and kind of planning to do it properly. Mm-hmm. But it is worth Nautical Prowess, because Nautical Prowess is a fantastic card.
Amazing.
It solves so many damn problems.
Yeah, and Siren Call... it sucks. It is a full stop to what you're doing, essentially. Mm-hmm. But someone else you're playing with can deal with it or deal with it for you if that is the best strategy for the team at the time. Which sometimes it is. Like, really, someone's like, I have nothing to do, and you're like, cool, get my weakness. But the signature, like his Harpoon and his Net, like I rarely, if ever, use the Take Back to Hand ability.
Yeah,
right.
It's just. It's another, +1 combat. It's a 2 damage weapon, single-handed for 3, and it's unlimited pretty much as long as you have skills, which, if you're playing Silas correctly, you do.
You're like probably half your deck should be skills.
Yeah. I think
the 20 cards, yeah.
the one time I used the bounce back on Sea Change Harpoon was so that I could get Meat Cleaver into play and start healing some sanity, I think, or healing some horror. I think that was the one time I actually used it. I'm actually running Able-Bodied in my Silas deck because I have Meat Cleaver, Sea Change Harpoon, and the Net, and that's it. for items.
Yeah.
So, and able-bodied is great in Silas. So, it's a lot of fun.
Silas's one weakness is willpower and sanity. So,
Yeah.
Which is why you take nautical prowess.
or
Yes.
take a couple teddy bears.
Yep.
Or those.
Yeah.
The
Or
one thing
just
that I
Haniku.
always tell, the 2 times that I've sat across someone who's playing Silas for the first time, don't be afraid to seed the discard pile early. Like, a lot of times with Silas, you're trying to think to yourself, like, okay, do I really need to let this skill fire? I'm passing the test. Do I need the effect? Like, you're kind of conserving your resources. But early in the game, you kind of want to seed your discard pile, I think, with, probably one of each icon for a juicy test that you might hit. Because
Get a
again,
Eureka in there.
Get a Eureka, get a quick thinking, get a resourceful, get
Yes.
nautical prowess, get something in your discard pile. Because again, when you pull that Elder Sign, it's like, oh, party! What do I get to do now?
Yeah.
It's a really good time. And again, Silas is just another one of those investigators. I don't think he does it quite to the degree of Amanda, but in general, I feel like he lets me play skills differently than I do in any other investigator. So I do love him for that.
You can play a little fast and loose, a little more willy nilly because you can take stuff back.
Nice.
So the other thing that I'd point out is generally, as long as you're looking at a lasting effect, the skills work with Silas like you want them to, except for the ones that say if this is successful. Because if you pull the skill back, obviously that ability doesn't last anymore. But like Defiance level 2 with Silas is like it's like a Superman shield against the Chaos Bag sometimes.
I'm just gonna block 6 tokens from affecting me.
And pull it back to do it again next turn.
Yep.
It's quite good.
Amazing.
All right. Well, let's move on to the actual cards, right? Nick, read us a psalm.
Book of Psalms. It's a 3 resource costed guardian asset with 1 will icon item, tome, and blessed trait, so Mateo can take it. Uses 4 secrets. Action. Spend a secret. Heal a horror from an investigator at your location. Add 2 blessed tokens to the chaos bag. Takes up the hand slot. Sure. If you're going bless, this isn't a bad one to take along with you. Adding 2 at one time for an action is nice. The horror healing is okay. Like, spend 1 action, heal 1 horror. I mean, that's on par with first aid kit, so it's whatever, or it's fine, or with first aid. But the 2 blessed tokens is nice. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's okay. There's not really much to say about this, I don't think.
I mean, I think it fits nice in Carolyn, just because you'll get the resource,
Well,
and
sure.
it's just, instead of first aid, you play this, and you're adding blessed tokens. And you're just, like, if you're playing, like, Carolyn is a help the team kind of build, I find, is where she excels generally, and this is just helping even more, right? She's healing you and giving you the blessed tokens and all this stuff, so
And a resource.
yeah.
And possibly an extra horror heal if she's got her signature out. Like, you can pull a lot of efficiency out of this with Carolyn. I don't honestly know that I'm looking at this in too many other investigators, though.
I'm running it in Sister Mary because I also have Forbidden Knowledge in Sister Mary.
Okay.
So I'll Forbidden Knowledge, get the resource, get a horror, then do this right afterwards as all one action, And so I end up with a resource and 2 blessed tokens in the bag.
Okay.
Which is okay. It's all right, but it's not important. Like that team up of investigators don't need the horror healing that badly because it's Mary and Mateo. They're fine on sanity. You know what I mean?
Right.
So...
Well, and 2 tokens for a single level 0 action. That's about as efficient as it gets outside of, I suppose, Keep Faith, that we'll talk about in a minute.
Yeah, that one's good.
But this is repeatable, and for that 1 action, you can fill your Chaos Bag up 1/5 of the way with all of your blesses.
Yep.
All right.
All right, Scott?
Next we have Blessed Blade. It is a 3-cost guardian asset with a combat icon. Item, weapon, melee, and blessed traded, so Mateo can take it. Action, if Blessed Blade is ready, fight. You get +1 combat for this attack. If a Bless or Elder Sign token is revealed during this attack deals +1 damage. Before resolving chaos tokens for this attack, you may exhaust Blessed Blade to add 1 blessed token to the chaos bag. Takes up a hand slot.
I do feel like it's probably important to turn this into a 2-syllable word for this card specifically.
Blessed
it is a
Blade.
blessed blade.
Blessed Blade.
Okay.
I really wish this was +2 combat. I really wish this was +2.
Yeah.
Like, because I want this in Mary, and I'm running this in Mary. But +1, it works, but not as often as I want it to.
This has the same problem as the Winchester. It's just a little bit more muted, where, like, if I'm taking a weapon, I generally want reliable damage compression, because enemies you want to get rid of ASAP, because they tax you more the slower you get rid of them.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like the reliable damage increase is what you really want out of a weapon, and this is a little ropey. Like,
Right.
Even if you've got the bag full of blesses, that's still like 1 in 3 to get the extra damage out of this,
Yeah.
or something like that, depending on your bag.
I tend to, when she's in full kill mode, she has a 45 in one hand and this in the other, and so then I tend to unload the 45 for my first 2 fight actions, and then my last one I'll exhaust the Blessed Blade and do that ability. You know what I mean?
Sure. Sure.
That's
so
usually
kind of like an offhand.
Yeah, that tends to be my rotation with her. Rotation. God, what is this? Wow.
Yeah.
No, that tends to be how I play her. Like when there's a big enemy and I need to take care of it, that's what I do. I tend to save the Blessed Blade for that exhaust ability, and I don't really use it unless I'm sitting at 10 bless tokens, which Sister Mary with the Bless Suite can get to pretty quickly.
She can do it.
Yeah. Then I'll use the I won't exhaust it, and I'll just see what I get. But otherwise, I save it for last action.
I think it's a neat offhand weapon because it does have like that. Whenever you have a lot of weapons do 2 damage, and if you have a 3 health enemy, if you don't have a 3 damage solution, this is kind of a neat way to make that 3rd damage and then also still get a bless token in there.
Mm-hmm.
So it's all right.
It's got its uses, but it's not blowing me away.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Unlike our next card,
Oh boy.
Rite of Sanctification. So it's level 0 asset, 0 cost, intellect icon, ritual and blessed traded. Seal up to 5 bless tokens. If Rite of Sanctification has no token sealed on it, discard it. Reaction: when an investigator at your location plays a card, not an asset, a card. Exhaust Rite of Sanctification and release a chaos token sealed on it. Reduce the cost of that card by 2. This takes up an arcane slot.
As
I love this card.
Gorfax says in chat, yes, Mary's signature.
Yeah, her actual signature.
Yeah.
Unless you're playing 4-player and you go last and you're like, why did you guys use up all of my blesses, you goddamn munchkins?
Yeah.
But if you're able to put like 3 to 4 tokens on this, like 5 is obviously ideal. This works for you just fine. Like the ability to reduce a cost by 2 is huge. Like this is probably going to net 2 resources for you or someone else per turn, which is really good for a 0 cost level 0 asset. That's really really good. And then on top of that, you release the token. It's not like you put it back in the token pool. You put it back in the bag.
Yep.
I can't rave enough about this. I think the only thing that might weaken it is timing and luck. If you're planning to play this and all the blesses get drawn first, then it can be a little bit slow. But beyond that, it's amazing.
Yeah, I agree.
This is also really good in Yorick.
Oh yeah, it is.
Play Keep Faith, fast. Fast. Add 4 bless tokens. And then slam down Rite of Sanctification.
Yes.
And I mean, the amount of times you play cards in Yorick is, spoiler alert, a lot.
Oh god, and out of your discard pile too. It can reduce it out of your discard pile.
Yeah, and you know what?
Kiss.
Once you run out of tokens sealed on Rite of Sanctification, if you ever get another Keep Faith, you can Keep Faith, kill something, and then play Rite of Sanctification from your discard pile.
For free.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
This card is bonkersly good.
Yes.
If you're playing Bless, of course.
Which, I mean, if you're not, this is a dumb card.
Nick, you want to read Bloodborne, the card?
I will. Gritta is... No, I'm just kidding. Hand of Fate.
I suppose that describes like six different
point,
cards that we've seen recently.
Hand of Fate is a 3-costed Guardian event. It's will and combat icons. Spell and bless traded. Fast. Play when an enemy attacks an investigator at your location. Cancel that attack. Then add bless tokens to the chaos bag equal to the attacking enemy's total combined damage and horror values. We talked about this one before because it was revealed. The biggest sticking point is the 3 cost. But in my in my particular build of Mary, where I'm running that, like I said, Forbidden Knowledge, Rite of Sanctification, that sort of thing, I tend to be swimming in resources with this Mary, and so I do use this, and I've used it at least once in every scenario of Innsmouth so far. The only, with that build of Mary, the only time I've run into issue is where I get to add 3 bless tokens, but I can only add 1, and then I'm full. That's the only downside. But I could see running this
hashtag first world problems.
I could see running this in a different build of Mary that doesn't make use of Forbidden Knowledge or another Guardian build. This would just be too expensive. And I could see people going, I'm just going to run Dodge. It does the same thing, and it's too cheaper, so... But I like it.
I do like this in Diana. There are ways to reduce the cost of spells. Like, if you've got, Robes of Endless Midnight out and a Mystic who can take this, it's pretty solid. Like, Marie can take it. The 3 cost is definitely not nothing, though.
Right. But I don't feel like it's overcosted. You know what I mean?
No. If this were 2, that would feel like a steal to me.
It would. I agree. Yeah. No, I think 3 is fine. I think that's enough to make the people who don't lean into what this card is kind of going for, it makes them look at it twice and probably consider something else, like we talked about. Whereas Big Money Mary is okay with it. So.
I would even consider this card
offering Bull Mary.
I would even consider this card as something that you look at going into the final scenario where you know there's going to be a big boss, and you just pay the 1 XP to bring it in because, it costs a decent amount. If you have any kind of cost reduction, it's better. But the amount of bless tokens you could possibly put in, like when, who's the ancient one in Dunwich who hits you for a health and 5 sanity?
Yogg-Sothoth.
Right? Like, I will cancel that and add 6 bless tokens to the bag. Cool story.
Yeah.
Or Azathoth,
I feel like
right?
if you...
Yeah,
Azathoth hits hard. Yeah. It's got its uses. I don't think everyone takes it, but I feel like if you're doing anything with Bless, or if you can just afford it, like, again, I'm going to throw this out there. It's really good in Diana. She gets a resource back from it. It's fine. It's good.
And I think this is one that it's not like... I think the bigger question is if you can afford it, not if you're playing Bless. Because I think even if you're not playing Bless, but you're playing a big money build that makes use of Guardian cards, I think you'd still look at this.
Yeah, that's fair.
Unlike Cryptographic Cipher, who's up? I don't know. Is it Scott?
I think it's Scott.
Sure. Cryptographic Cipher is a 3-cost Seeker asset. Has a intellect icon. It's item and tool traded. Uses 3 secrets and fast triggered action thing. Exhaust Cryptographic Cipher and spend 1 secret. Investigate. Your location gets +1 shroud for this investigation. Or action. Exhaust Cryptographic Cipher and spend 1 secret. Investigate. Your location gets -2 shroud for this investigation, and it takes up a hand slot.
The Cocky Seekers tool.
Or the auto evade tool in Trish.
Or that, yeah. I mean, there's a couple things that trigger off of Shroud. Like I'm thinking of increasing Shroud, like crack the case and that sort of thing. I guess you could use it.
Okay, so the first place I put this was in my Amanda deck, which took the Dream Diary, and I took the Traveler variant.
I don't even know what that does.
The Shroud 4 or higher?
Yeah, that's the one where it gains bonus icons that are Shroud 4 or higher. So you're essentially netting an icon off of using the free triggered ability on this. You're getting it for free. Amanda's stacking a ton of icons anyway. Just what you can pull out of a free test for a single secret can be very good.
Sure.
That said, like, it's using secrets instead of supplies. I feel like probably one of the bigger comparisons is just to, like, look at Flashlight. Flashlight's doing a very similar thing.
Mm-hmm.
And this costs a little bit more, but I don't know. I feel like in the Red Investigator, this can be really good.
Yeah, Lord Batboy in chat says Flashlight doesn't exhaust either. There's that, too. This is once per turn.
That is true.
I think you hit the nail on the head, Sean, with the Shroud buff, the increasing Shroud by 1. I was trying to think of when that would be useful, and the only thing that really came to mind was Crack the Case and, like, trying to set up Connect the Dots. Like, if anybody's going to get Connect the Dots to fire, it's going to be some weird cryptographic cipher build. But no, I think you found how that works. So, okay,
I mean,
Scott,
I think the important part is not the +1 Shroud, it's the free trigger.
Yeah,
right?
No, it is. You're right, but at the same time, I'm like, God, why is that on there? Like, you know what I mean? Like, as soon as I see that, I'm like, why would I use that? What would I use that for? You know what I mean? So,
Which, the +1 Shroud?
yeah, +1 Shroud.
No, it's just an actionless clue if you can dare to hit it at a higher difficulty.
Yeah, it just makes it more difficult. I think, like,
Plus
if
whatever else you can stack.
If you use the action ability on this, I feel like you're doing it wrong. Like, it just you're wasting your secrets on this item.
Yeah, I feel like you're definitely including it for the free triggered action. The regular action could be nice to have if you hit something that's like super high shroud and then all of a sudden like obscuring fog actually hits a location you're concerned with.
Yeah.
It's nice to have the option, but
could you use it to decipher a grimoire? A cryptic one, perhaps?
Perhaps. Cryptic Grimoire, the untranslated version, is, of course, a level 0 Seeker asset. It's 3 cost. Has a wild icon. Action, add a curse token to the Chaos Bag. Oh, sorry, item, tome, and occult traits. Action, add a curse token to the Chaos Bag. And then action. If there are 10 curse tokens in the Chaos Bag, discard Cryptic Grimoire, and record in your campaign log that you have translated the Grimoire, and then replace 5 curse tokens in the Chaos Bag with 5 bless tokens. And it takes up a hand slot.
We should have had this in our War of the Undergrounds game.
Yeah.
I built, so I'm running Silas, and my wife is playing Rex in Innsmouth, and I added this to Rex just because I was like, sure, why not? Like, I never do the side quest seeker stuff. Let's do that. And of course, I didn't think about who's playing Rex. It's my wife, she's one of the, she's so scared of the Chaos Bag. Not in a bad way, just like for good reason. But like, so she doesn't like,
possibly
she's like,
a little bit more risk averse.
Exactly. And so she sees this and I think she's committed it every time. And then eventually she upgraded it out of the deck. So yeah, I have no idea how it feels like to put it into play and fire it.
The untranslated stuff is so hard to talk about until we can talk about what you upgraded into. And we have just gotten it released very recently. I haven't had a chance to play with it yet, so I can't comment on it there. We're not reviewing the upgraded ones. So as far as this one as kind of the base one, getting the 10 tokens, I feel like you got to plan for it. Mm-hmm. Kind of like we talked about with wanting bless tokens in the bag, particularly if you're playing like 3 to 4 player. It can be hard to keep them in there. Mm-hmm. So I feel like maybe we've covered a few tricks that might work, like playing with Sister Mary and all of a sudden her weakness fires and be like, oh no, let it happen. There's I don't know, there's a few things, but Scott, like you said, if you've got everyone who's playing with curses and those kind of start to get away from you, mm-hmm. That's actually not bad in and of itself to just pop the ability and replace half of them with blesses. Even if nothing else happens and you can't upgrade it yet because you don't have the XP, popping that ability actually has a benefit.
Yeah.
But yeah. More to come when we talk about the actual translated versions.
Did those come out in Horror in High Gear?
They sure did.
That's why I don't have them yet. Okay.
Now we have a deeper knowledge of what we're looking at.
Oh, this is a straight up like translation of one of my favorite cards from Lord of the Rings. Nick.
They had curse
Hit us.
tokens in Lord of the Rings? Nice. Deep Knowledge a secret seeker event that costs 0 resources, will and intellect traded. I'm sorry, icons, insight and cursed traded. As an additional cost to play Deep Knowledge, add 2 curse tokens to the Chaos Bag. Investigators at your location draw a combined total of 3 cards. You decide how many cards each investigator draws. Cool.
Yep. Great.
I would argue, Sean, you just posted the Lord of the Rings version. I would argue the Lord of the Rings one is better.
No, that was Network.
I'm sorry, Network did. Sorry. Thank you, Network. Yeah, I would argue that Lord of the Rings one that's better than the Arkham one, because card draw is so huge in Lord of the Rings, and this lets everybody draw too.
It is. That said, Lord of the Rings doesn't have the action system, so it's right. Harder to translate it. But even if this was like add 2 curse tokens and everyone draws 2 cards or everyone draws 1 card, that would be that'd be pretty okay. But the idea that you get 3 cards out of the 2 curses in an action and you get to disperse them.
Yeah, it's nice.
It's essentially like if you, I suppose this is somewhat comparable to like prep sketches.
Totally.
Sure.
But you save yourself the resources at the cost of the curse tokens. So as long as, I don't know. I feel like maybe this is a discussion for like later in the cycle. But I feel like the prospect of like -2 at a test where you're generally already trying to be like 3 to 4 up. For most tests, that's kind of like where we're trying to get to nowadays, right? Because that's really where you're going to hit on standard, at least, most of your tests. Yeah, for 2 of those tests to get an extra -2, like you cannot undervalue seeing more of your cards.
Yeah, yeah, it's just good, solid card draw. Like that. Yeah, I have no other comments besides it's good.
It's good.
I would probably take this at level 0 over level 0 prep sketches, and then I would level this up into level 2 prep sketches.
Sure,
if that was going to be my card draw.
I wouldn't argue with you. I like that. I'm not two curse tokens don't scare me. 8 curse tokens scare me. 2 don't. Scott,
you need a plan of action.
Great. Oh,
Oh,
I'm sorry. I stepped on it. I'm sorry.
It's all right.
You're right. It was a really good plan of action. Thank you, Nick. Plan of action is a seeker skill with a wild icon. It is practice traded, so Amanda can take it. If this skill test is during or before the first action of the of this turn, plan of action gains willpower and a willpower and agility icon. If this skill test is between the first and third actions of this turn, draw 1 card if it succeeds. If this skill test is during or after the third action of this turn, plan of action gains a combat or intellect icon.
All right, we talked about this when it was revealed. It's a bit of a brain burn.
Well, it's because we revealed it. This was our look what I found.
Yeah. So okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And that's how forgettable it is.
That's how I was gonna say anything new to add. I haven't played it yet because I'm like, I don't think this. There's better skills. You know what I mean? I haven't used it yet.
I really, really, really like the idea of it.
Yes,
but I don't think it gives enough icons for its contingencies to make it like playable.
If it gave us 2 of each of those icons, 2 willpower, 2 agility.
That would be an experience card, though, I think, at that point.
Yeah, but I think I said this, too, during our Look What I Found episode. Is like, hey, look, a balanced seeker card. But there's so many seeker cards. I'm just like, this is not something that excites. The design does. I love this idea of the design. But the power level of it is, I think, lower than a lot of cards.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the main problem is like the constraint of it, right? Because I think in general, particularly in solo, your evade action is going to be first.
Yep.
If you're taking it. Just to confirm I understand this correctly, that willpower boost, if you say you have this under Amanda, for instance, because I feel like that's probably the main place this is ever going to get played. is that going to be active? Is the text applicable during the Mythos phase? Because
So-
it says this turn.
Yeah, I don't think it is based on
Okay, that
also
was
my
my
reading
instinct.
of the 4 XP Survivor card that came in Stella, the chess set one. Anyways, yeah, I don't think it is because it's of this turn, and it's not a turn during the Mythos phase. It's a round, so yeah.
Womp womp.
I mean, yeah. I mean, it's cool. It's got a lot of like little things it can do for you during a turn, but I feel like for the
Problem
most
is they're
part,
also
you want
little.
exactly.
also
You want to be
different.
able to really dial your power toward a specific thing
Yeah.
during a turn, and
I've-
this is just too weak.
I feel like if I were to include this, I would be doing it primarily for the second action ability. And then if it happens to coincide with being useful on the first or third, great. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I could see this
But-
in Min. Maybe.
Sure.
Yeah, maybe.
Because it's also she can give it to somebody else, right?
But if you
and those
give it to
flexibility
someone,
icons.
but if you give it to someone else, it only gets the wild, doesn't it? Because it's on this. Oh wait, is it
Of
this
this
turn?
turn.
I already
This turn.
closed the window. It's this. Okay, all right.
It's this turn. Yeah.
So it could be their turn.
I guess. Yeah.
But- You know, like if someone has to evade first turn and you can commit this to them, it's +3. Right? Because you can give them
right. Oh, because of Min. Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah.
I was like, wait, what? How do you get the third? Yeah. All right. So sure. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
And again, like we were talking about, in that range, at +3 to that test, this becomes a lot better.
Yeah.
But the contingent +2 maybe is harder.
Yeah.
I put what I did when I first built Amanda. I put one of these in, and I put one Promise of Power in, and I'm like, I'm not sure about how I'm going to feel about these cards. So I'm gonna play one of each and see how it rolls. And by the second scenario, I paid the XP to put another Promise of Power in and get rid of Plan of Action.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%.
So
All right.
anyway, moving on to the 25 automatic. It's a level 0 rogue asset, 4 cost, agility icon, item, weapon, firearm, and illicit traded. Fast, uses 4 ammo, and then action to spend an ammo. Fight, if the attacked enemy is exhausted, you get +2 combat and deal +1 damage for this attack. And it has takes up a hand slot.
Talk about a weapon for certain investigators.
Really good for finishing off an enemy.
Yeah, this one's.
Yep.
This one, I mean, you're not going to use it unless you're evading a lot. And if you're evading a lot, it's great. So.
Yeah. I love that it's fast. That's awesome.
Fast is great.
That's. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that 4 cost is kind of steep, especially because you don't get anything unless they're evaded. So
Yeah.
4 cost is a lot for that. But fast is nice. 4 ammo is nice.
Decent and winning
So I know
too.
this is
Sure.
yeah, solid and winny. I do like the idea that this is kind of, somewhat made for Trish, but like the idea of Finn carrying around this little darling clutch with the 25 automatic in it is it's a fun visual.
Yeah.
All right.
But yeah, I mean, like comparing this to the 45, fast, extra combat boost for the cost of just having to evade the enemy first.
Mhm.
That seems fine for those who are evading, so yeah, take it.
Yeah.
And 2 out of the 3 investigators we mentioned have ways of evading at low cost or no cost, as far as like
Sure.
action cost, right? Like Finn gets that extra action, Trish can do the clue trick. So, yeah.
Sneck Conspiracy in chat brings up it pairs very nicely with Hatchet Man, and I would agree.
That
which I swear also exists.
you're right, it does exist. Yeah, no, actually that is a really good point.
I do like a cheeky hatchet man in like Finn, or I think I've put it in Safina before.
I
Can't
think I
remember how
might
I felt
actually
about it there.
Now I want to build a deck with Hatchet Man.
Hatchet man, chopping down the enemies all over the board.
So Dark Ritual is a rogue asset. It costs 1 resource, has an intellect icon. Ritual and Cursed traded. So Rex can take it, I guess. Seal up to 5 curse tokens. Forced. At the end of the Mythos phase, you must either spend 1 resource or discard Dark Ritual. And it's arcane slot. Wow.
Says the Guardian. Yeah.
We're already exactly. Well, we're already over 2 hours. Jesus. Okay. Yeah, I mean, sure, if this is for the rogue who's scared of curses, I guess. Which I guess they exist. I haven't met one yet. But
I don't know if it's worth it.
If this were fast, I would look at it differently.
I mean, it costs 1. It takes the arcane slot.
Costs 1 for now.
Oh, sure. But if anybody's going to have the cash to spare...
You're paying in installments, Nick.
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah, you're right.
But here's the thing. The place where I could see this working is if, say, you've put 6 or 7 curses in the chaos bag through your shenanigans, and then you hit an important turn where you're like, I really need to test this turn.
Yeah, you draw Frozen.
If this were fast, I'd play it down for 1, seal him for a turn, or maybe even 2. Maybe I'd even pay the resource to keep it in play for another turn. And then do my tests and feel good about just kind of protecting myself for a little bit, kind of taking the edge off of all of that chaos I've created with the curse tokens. But the fact that this is going to take you a full action to play down this is exactly what I was talking about with Dexter. This is too slow by itself. Maybe this is the Dexter tax. Dexter is the only.
I was just going to say Dexter might like it.
Maybe.
Mm-hmm.
One thing I want to say too, because I hear this argument. One of the arguments I hear is like, oh well, rogues are like what you just said, Nick, is like, oh, rogues have money, they can spend it.
Right.
I kind of agree with that, but I also don't, because rogues still need money to make money. But if you're just constantly spending all that money on stuff like this, it's very hard to increase the amount of money you have.
Yeah.
Right? Like Jenny gets by with a +1 each turn. You can use like all the cards that God, what is it? Not Ace in the Hole, but the not Sure Gamble. Goodness.
Hot Streak,
thank you. Something like that. Or Dario, you have to have a certain amount of money.
Yeah.
With Preston, you have to spend the actions to grab his money and stuff like that. Yeah, like I just don't think rogues have enough money to be constantly paying taxes like this.
I don't know. I think Preston wouldn't care about it.
No, you're right.
Preston
well, no, at the end of the Mythos phase. At the end of the Mythos phase, he doesn't have his money on the
Inheritance.
Oh, that's such a weird time. Why would they do that?
Probably because Preston.
Is it
Probably
reloads at the beginning of
because he needed
phase, or at the beginning of your turn?
It reloads at the beginning of your turn.
God, I played it so much you think I would know. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't matter in solo because it pretty much doesn't matter.
That's true. Yeah, it's just when you can go.
Yeah.
Maybe in Preston, I don't know. I don't think too many people are looking at this card. I think it's a little too slow, a little too expensive for what you want it to do.
End of the Mythos phase.
It's when your turn begins and at the end of your turn for family inheritance.
You're right.
Yeah.
End of the Mythos phase. That's so weird. All right.
Yeah.
Are we to Scott or to Nick?
It's kind of
I read Dark Ritual, so Scott is obfuscated.
Okay, Scott. Read us Trish's actual signature.
Yeah. Obfuscation is a 2-cost rogue asset, level 0, combat icon, spell traded, fast, uses 3 charges. Reaction: when an enemy makes an attack of opportunity against you, spend 1 charge, cancel that attack, takes up the arcane slot. This is just amazing. You can play this in a Kachi, just throw it out there, because charges, and you get 4 of them. Yep.
Man, if we get more cards that just let you use charges for things other than the ability on the card that the charges are on, like, that's baller.
Yeah. This is really good.
Yeah. There really isn't. There's not much to talk about here. It's just good, just straight up good. Like, would you like to have 3 dodges on demand? Sure.
Amazing in Trish, because even if you like have this in your hand and then you draw an enemy, you can then play this down fast, investigate, cancel, evade it, and you're like, cool, man. 1 action. I'm just going to move on now, please.
One of my favorite things in this game is fast on enemy mitigation cards. Like, it's so good.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, fantastic. Investigate and get a thing, or investigate and then invade the enemy, or play the thing down that you're at. Like, so many uses.
And I mean, in Rogue, the arcane slot is not really used unless you're Safina,
Right.
for the most part. And 2 cost is not a lot. Like, this is 3 dodges for the cost of 2. Yep.
Yeah,
Cool.
solid.
Seems like quite the bargain.
It sure is. The Faustian bargain is level 0 rogue event. It has a willpower and an intellect icon. It is packed and cursed traded. As an additional cost to play Faustian bargain, add 2 curse tokens to the chaos bag. Investigators at your location gain a total of 5 resources, distributed as you wish.
Hey.
So I feel like I feel the same way about this as I did about Deep Knowledge.
Yeah.
Like,
Faustian knowledge, deep bargain. They're great.
that is a serious resource burst out of a single action, out of a level 0 card that you can play from 0 resources.
Yes.
2 curse tokens for that is 100% reasonable. This is a great card.
Yeah. If you have an emergency cache in your deck and you have rogue level 0 access, you should replace it with this. Yeah.
100%.
Very nice.
Wow, moving on.
Moving on. Well, the rotation goes to me, and Sean just read. So, Sword Cane is a mystic asset. It costs 2 resources. He has a combat icon. Item, relic, weapon, melee traded. Playing Sword Cane does not provoke attacks of opportunity. It's not fast, but they don't get to attack you. Reaction, after Sword Cane enters play, immediately trigger its action ability without paying its cost. Well, it's kind of fast. Action, exhaust Sword Cane. Yeah, it's pseudo-fast. Fight/evade. You may use your will in place of your combat or agility for this attack or evasion attempt. It takes 1 hand. I, too, enjoy Bloodborne.
Like, I am seriously digging. We got like the kidnapped treachery in Dunwich, and then we got the unseen place in Shattered Aeons. We got some like light Bloodborne things, and now like so many cards have just taken a straight up thematic turn into feeling very Bloodborne-y.
Yes.
Huge fan of it. This card's amazing. So you know how like in Seekers, like mind over matter solves so many problems?
Right.
This does that, but for mystics. As long as you're playing a mystic who has good willpower.
Yeah. So not Diana, right?
So this isn't a Diana card.
As positive as I am on this card, Diana is probably one of the few mystics I would not take this in general. But yeah. So like I was just talking about, it doesn't have fast, but it kind of gets to that same place by preventing attacks of opportunity and letting you trigger it right away. It's essentially the same thing. And the fact that you can fight or evade with it, like this is just such a good little tool.
Yep.
And it doesn't like prevent you from evading non-elites. Again, just Mystic getting really good cards to utilize their best stat for other things. And it takes up a slot that a lot of Mystics don't really care about. I can't rave enough about this card. I love it.
Agree on all counts.
Yeah, really good.
Fantastic. Scott.
Ooh. Tides of Fate is a level 0 1-cost event for Mystic. It has a wild icon. It is spell and bless traded, so Mateo can take it. Fast play during any fast triggered window or at the start of the round. Replace all curse tokens in the chaos bag with an equal number of bless tokens. At the end of the round, replace all bless tokens in the chaos bag with an equal number of curse tokens. Tipsy-turvy.
So, yeah.
Topsy-turvy. There.
I looked at this card in a vacuum when I first saw it, and I was like, I mean, okay, cool. It makes the bag better for a turn, but then it makes it way worse.
Mm-hmm.
Because you know that if you do this to dodge some curse tokens, you're not going to see the bless tokens that you replaced them with. Mm-hmm. So that means all of them are going to get replaced with curse tokens anyway.
Can confirm.
Yeah. But, like we were talking about earlier, I feel like this is your combo card. This is like, hey, our Seeker really needs to get this Grimoire translated. Let's just eat it this turn, or let's play this at the end of this turn, get all the curses in there, they pop it at the beginning of next turn, and Robert's your father's brother. Or the Hallowed card that we just talked about, where like all of a sudden you're getting all of the benefit and then not having to pay the penalty, which is pretty solid on this.
Yeah, this is step 1 of a combo, or in the way I used it, it's step 2, where you use it as a response to Mary's weakness. Yeah, it's fine. You can play it whenever, which is great, so you can make the most use out of it.
I feel like this is just going to enable some weird combos. I don't think you play this for the reason that you play it when you just look at, or that you think you would play it when you just look at it on its face.
Right. Yeah.
This is like a weird combo enabler where you're doing something funky with another Bless or Curse card.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Weird combo card.
Yeah.
That's... It's like, what's that other Mystic card where when you draw a symbol token, you can cancel it? Like if you draw a Shriveling?
Oh, Eldritch Inspiration.
Eldritch Inspiration, that's it.
Oh, yeah.
It's kind of like that, I feel like. Like, you wouldn't play this just because there might be curses sometime, or you might draw... Yeah. It's a combo piece.
I think that's a very apt comparison, and a big reason why a lot of people never play Eldritch Inspiration.
Yeah.
I myself just played Eldritch Inspiration to deal 4 damage to an enemy with Jackie using the Hypnotic Gaze. It felt really good. It's the dream.
Yep.
Eldritch Inspiration. Speaking of other Mystic cards that most Mystics probably don't play, Ward of Radiance is a level 0/0 costed Mystic event with a will, an agility icon, insight, and blessed traded. Fast. Play when an investigator at your location draws a non-weakness treachery card. Reveal 5 random chaos tokens from the chaos bag. If a bless or elder sign token is revealed, cancel that treachery's revelation effect. Garbage? Garbage.
No.
Nope. You played Sister Mary. How do you think this is garbage? It's a 0 cost cancel.
I would much rather have Ward of Protection.
Porque no los dos.
Because I don't want to
that.
commit 4 card slots in my 30 card deck to
just canceling treacheries.
Yeah, I'd rather have
stopping most of the Mythos phase.
All right. Well, even comparing it to Ward of Protection, less cost. You don't take a horror.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't cost 1.
And I think the biggest part for me, as just a person who plays a lot of multiplayer, is that you can trigger this at anyone at your location. So like in multiplayer, when someone draws the bad card that we've all been afraid of, this can pop. Again, you're not playing this if you're not playing Blessed Play, or if someone's not playing Blessed Play. You don't just throw this in any deck. This does not stack up against Ward, because Ward is just generally always good. But if you've got a decent amount of Blessed tokens in the bag, revealing 5's probably going to hit 1.
Yeah.
And if it's not, if you're keeping track of how many Blessed tokens in the bag, you just hold on to this and you wait until you get more in there. It's not like... I think it's ideally very seldom that you fire this and you don't hit a Blessed token because of luck specifically. It will happen, and it's going to feel bad. But I don't think it'll happen that often.
Sure. I even read the damn card, and I didn't process that it's an investigator at your location. That does make me look at it a second time. But, and it could be because I'm running Ward of Protection in both Mateo and Mary in the same campaign. But I guess
do.
Yeah, I guess I just don't feel like it's needed. But yeah, the fact that it can hit anybody, that's nice. That's really nice.
Yeah. And if you miss, you're only out the card It's fast. It's free. Didn't take a horror. Like the risk, the skin you have in the game is very little.
Sure.
So it will miss occasionally, but I don't think it's going to hurt that badly when it does.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I promise you, it's powerful.
Go.
Promise of Power is a Mystic skill, level 0, 4 wild icons, practiced, cursed. So Amanda can take it. After you commit Promise of Power to a skill test, add 1 curse token to the Chaos Bag. If you cannot, take 2 horror instead. So this makes Amanda like 66666.
Yeah.
But it also ends
almost the number of the beast.
Almost. But it ends up adding a beastly number of curse tokens.
Just 3.
Just 3.
Maybe 4 in the Mythos phase.
Yeah. Yep. Just that.
That's not bad.
And then when you commit another Promise of Power to the test.
Yeah, now you're cooking with gas, buddy. Yeah.
Yeah. Sounds great. I do like it, though. I think this is very much worth it.
Yes.
I'm still torn on Amanda using it, quite honestly.
Simply because of that forced errata, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But. Yeah, I think it's in there. I think it's like a dirty thing when you really need to get a job done.
Yeah.
That's how I look at it in Amanda, and that's kind of why I mentioned earlier, like, I put 2 of these in and took out Plan of Action, because it's like, Plan of Action's kind of dirty, too, because it kind of funnels you. It has no downside except for the funnel, but where Promise of Power is just like, you're going to pass these tests probably.
Yeah.
And for that, Curse Token's pretty okay. And outside of Amanda, like, if you're even looking at Unexpected Courage in a deck and you have access to Promise of Power, a single Curse Token is not that much.
No, not at all. Not at all.
It's not a big ask.
If you draw that Curse Token, this just becomes an Unexpected Courage.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oops.
I feel like Plan of Action is to calligraphy as Promise of Power is like a Jackson Pollock. Where it's just...
I don't know if I understand that metaphor.
Yeah, that's interesting. Well, he always comparing a writing...
Because he always threw paint at a canvas. Like, this is just, every single thing gets covered in color versus a very specific...
So I think you'd want to say that... What was the calligraphy? What were you comparing to calligraphy?
Plan of Action.
Plan of Action then is like your perspective art, where it's governed by straight lines.
Sure.
And then Promise of Power is abstract expressionism.
Yeah.
Yeah. Really good card though.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Pretty giant fan of it.
Yeah.
And it's practiced, so Amanda, like, practice makes perfect in Amanda.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think we even mentioned practice makes perfect and how great that is in Amanda.
I don't think we had to. It literally says practice on her card.
Yeah,
that's entirely fair.
That's her signature.
Pull
card.
all the practice cards together, and that's a deck.
Yeah, that's her signature card.
Perfect. So then, Token of Faith is another card that we've already talked about. So go check out that Look What I Found. So we won't talk about it a whole lot here. But it's a level 0 survivor asset, 2-cost intellect icon, item, charm traded, reaction after a skill test ends in which 1 or more curse or auto-fail tokens were revealed. Exhaust Token of Faith. Add that many bless tokens to the Chaos Bag. And it takes up an accessory slot, and it's also an homage to the moment in The Mummy where Benny pulls out all of his differing religious idols and see what works. Mm-hmm. And it's pretty great Rex art, if I might say.
It is, yeah. I wish this was his investigator card.
Yeah. So I've been running this as... I don't run this as a 2-of, I don't think, because it's not like I need it. And if I draw the second copy of it, I'm not happy about that. So I've been running this as like a 1-of in my Amanda and Silas campaign. In my 4-player campaign where I've got Rex built with some curse play, again, I'm running it as 1 of his 5 splash. I feel like it's pretty solid just to kind of plink 1 or possibly 2 bless tokens into the bag here and there. Yeah. Because this triggers not only on your own tests, not only at your own location, It's any test where the curses or the tentacle comes out. You can just plink that curse right on in. The bless right on in.
It swings the stats of the bag more so than just removing the curses.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Psychopath brings up in chat, it doesn't justify the slot. Definitely, like, if you've got something better to put an accessory slot, this is pretty marginal. This is really only going in decks where I don't have something compelling to go in the accessory slot.
Mm-hmm. With all those tokens of faith, you think that this would require 2 accessory slots. All those damn necklaces he's wearing.
Yeah. Double
God,
accessory
I love
slot.
the art.
Yeah, you need Relic Hunter before you can take this level 0 card.
Yeah.
Well, they sure
Anyway.
help. Oh. They sure all those tokens sure help me keep the faith.
It was a pun traffic jam.
Keep Faith is a Survivor 0 level event. It costs 2 resources as a will icon. Fortune and Bless traded. Fast. Play during any danger squiggle window. Yeah, thank you. Add 4 Bless tokens to the Chaos Bag. Yeah. I love
if you're playing Bless, if you're playing with Bless tokens and you can take this card, you take this card.
Even if you're not. I mean, 2 resources, but it's fast and you play it literally anytime you want. And it adds 4 plus 2s.
Yeah. Parallel Skids can take it, as Innsmouth Conspiracy points out in chat, because it's fortune traded. So, yeah. I like this is. I don't want to say it's a combo enabler. Well,
it can be, but
it's more like you can play this alone. I don't think it's as good as. I don't think you just play this just because it's like, oh yeah, some blessed tokens. I think you need to make use of those blessed tokens besides just having them in the bag. Yeah,
I would tend to agree.
I don't know.
Double Tony deck, Lord Batboy, double this. Whew.
But even that, like, if we're playing and I go, hey guys, do you mind if I just add 4 blessed tokens to the bag? No one cares. Cool.
No one's gonna say no. But is that worth the 2 resources and the card?
I would. Yeah, I would think so.
I think to get full value of it, you want to use those blessed tokens in some other way.
I mean, I'm not going to argue that this is an amazing setup card for that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, in my Silas deck, I'm running this, and I think we're going to come up. We're going to come up on the other 2 cards, and that's it. And I'm not running anything to trigger off of Bless. I'm just running those, and it's been nice.
Mm-hmm.
Now, in my defense, it's my first Silas deck that I built, but
this
Look,
and
it
Agnes,
doesn't ask a whole lot of you, but 30 cards is tight.
Yeah,
it is.
You know,
this in Agnes if you're running War of Radiance.
Sure. Yeah, there you go.
Stuff. Yep. Yeah.
Beautiful.
All right,
Nick. I feel like it's been predestined that you read us this card.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you're on the rotation there, but you are. So I just
okay.
Faith.
Yeah, it's you, Scott.
Oh, I guess I was
I
predestined.
question the scale of your segue, much like I question the scale of this art.
Yeah, that wouldn't work. Predestined is a level 0 survivor skill. It is fortune and blessed traded, so Mateo can take it, and parallel skids. Max 1 committed per skill test. You may commit predestined to any type of test. If this test fails, either add 2 blessed tokens to the chaos bag or remove 2 curse tokens from the chaos bag.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit like Take Heart.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot bit like Take Heart.
Network says in chat, predestined Prestoned.
Even blessed tokens can't help his stats.
Yep.
I included this one in my Silas build specifically because I was playing opposite Rex with Cryptic Grimoire. but then my wife removed Cryptic Grimoire from the deck. So now I just have these 2 Predestins in there, which next chance I get, they're getting kicked out. But, I mean, it's one of those things with Silas, too. Like, I'll commit it to a test, and then if I end up succeeding, I'm like, all right, well, try again next time. So.
Yeah.
Yep.
So here's my problem with Predestined.
Mm-hmm.
I am personally of the belief, and feel free to disagree with me here, I'm personally of the belief that running 2 of Predestined and 2 of Take Heart is too much.
Agreed.
You're sitting with dead cards in your hand waiting for tests that you're going to fail.
Yes.
And stacking Predestined against Take Heart, I think I'm looking at Take Heart pretty much every time.
Yes.
Sure.
So that's really my only problem with it. If you really need the Bless tokens, or I guess if you're really looking to mitigate Curse, maybe you're looking at this, but it's a tough sell for me.
This is a combo piece, not in that you need it to, do the combo or anything. It just supports the Bless play. Yeah. This card is not my beloved.
Everything's coming up parallel skids.
That meme is top notch because it's a Simpsons reference. All right, anyway, Sean, Beloved.
Beloved is a level 0 survivor skill. It has willpower, agility, and wild icon. It is innate and blessed traits. If a blessed token is revealed during this test, you may remove Beloved from the game to replace that token's effect with the following. You automatically succeed. Do not reveal another token, and return this token to the Chaos Bag after this test ends. Perhaps love is the strongest spell of all. So the real spell was the love we met along the way.
So I said that I wasn't running Keep Faith and Predestined as setup cards, but now I remember that I also have Beloved in that Silas deck, so I guess I am running them as setup cards.
Yeah.
How's it been working? I've yet to justify putting this one in.
I've gotten Beloved in 3 scenarios. I've gotten Beloved to fire as an auto succeed once.
Okay.
So, but that has more come down to me not having Beloved in hand than it has me not having enough Bless in the bag. You know what I mean?
Well, here's my problem with Beloved: is it's a cool effect. I like the effect. Obviously, you can commit this to any test, and if it fires, you just straight up succeed it. That's a cool effect. We often pay 2 XP for that and exile it to use it.
Right.
But relying on pulling a Bless token is a tenuous thing at best. So I feel like in order to actually want to play this card, I'd have to really be assured that I'm going to find that Bless token. So what do I do to couple with this to make sure I'm pulling that Bless token? Because I'm not just... Even if I have 10 Bless tokens in the bag, I don't feel good enough about this test to include this. Right?
Even though it's
anyone else kind of in that boat?
Even though it's both a Guts and a Manual Dexterity?
I mean, yeah, I guess it is a little defensive.
You don't get the card draw, but...
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not reliable enough for me. I'm kind of...
Oh, but everyone loves Ward of Radiance!
You're seeing 5 tokens in that one.
Yeah.
I know. I'm just being facetious.
If this pulled 5 tokens and pulled a Bless among them, then yeah, great. Like, I am all in on this card.
Oh, you don't draw tokens like I do then, because I always draw like 8 Bless in a row on one test, and I'm like, yay!
Yeah.
Oh god, that's real feel bad.
There they all are.
I think my record is like 4 in a row. It's like, no, just stop. And it was when I had Take Heart committed too. It was the worst. Yeah, I mean, when you put it like that, a lot of times you're committing a skill like this on a defensive test. At worst, this is Guts or Manual Dexterity. I don't know. Maybe this is one I have to try and actually play to see whether it has value. I've panned it thus far. Maybe I'll throw it in a deck at some point.
You're going to tempt fate by putting it in the deck?
Yes, I will.
Tempt Fate
Nick, bring us home.
is a neutral level 0 resource costed event with 1 wild icon. Fortune, blessed, and curse traded. Fast. Play during any electrocution window. Add 3 curse tokens to the chaos bag. Then add 3 blessed tokens to the chaos bag and draw 1 card. Okay. So if you play this and there are already 10 curse tokens in the bag, do you get to do the second part?
Nope. It's a then.
Yeah. Then.
I feel like MJ was very, very particular on this particular little deal. Very, very tricksy is the black cat.
I don't... Sure, like, whatever. It's a card draw. Like, that's what you're doing.
Yeah, exactly. It's a free fast cantrip.
So, yeah, like, is it worth it?
I don't think so. I think this is a fun card.
So
Yeah.
It's fun. It's cute. But
yeah. Okay, so a lot of people I've actually heard out there that you just put this in any deck and it just reduces your deck size. It's a wild icon if you really need it. Like
those sound like click economists, Sean.
I'm not gonna disagree with you. It does add some chaos to the chaos bag, but it adds equal amounts of chaos. So, in a perfect world, it's not going to, on aggregate, negatively affect things. Though God knows those curse tokens matter more than those blessed tokens if you're not doing something extra with them. I don't know, but I feel like if you're doing any kind of bless/curse play, particularly if you're playing with a team that is doing both, this is fantastic. You can just seed it. Just bang, done.
Sure.
New tokens in there. Play with them as you will, everyone.
mm-hmm.
So this is great in a 4-player game where everyone is committing to the gimmick.
Yeah. Like everyone has cards that play around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
So it's interesting in chat because Lord Batboy brought up, he said it's been in every one of his decks since release. He reads this as basically reduce your deck size, which for people who look at deck size and come from other games where you can have different sizes of decks. Like you always want your deck smaller because you get more consistency, blah, blah, blah. I'm not going to get into that. But fast draw card, and you could see this as both a curse and a bless, right? You add 3 and 3, so it should equal out. But our local programming mathematician guy network, he brings up the stats and it looks like it was created with some sort of algorithm. I probably don't understand it, but it is a net negative impact on the bag slightly.
So this is with the gathering.
This is with the gathering.
That's what it's with.
Yeah. And looking at when you're 1 below, when you're equal, when you're +1, +2, +3, +4, like the probabilities of success. And I mean, we're talking about the biggest swing is a -5%, and that's at +2, which is what everyone...
Almost negligible.
Almost. I mean, but that's 1 in 20, right? Like, how many times have you been playing D&D and rolled a 1?
A lot.
Yeah,
right?
Too many times.
I think D&D players understand the probability, like, oh, it's just 5%. Like, they understand that, like, a lot more than normal people. Just because, like, how many times have you rolled a 1? Oh, yeah. So... It's there, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so if you are the kind of person, and I am that type of person, right? Same as Lord Batboy is saying, like, well, this is just 1 less card in my deck, and that is just 1/30th of a deck. 5% is also a number that is significant when doing math. So
right. I mean, if you're looking at it as, like, it thins my deck out, it is free, it is fast, and it does draw a card.
Yep. Those are true statements.
Those are true.
And then,
you guys can't refute
Here's the thing. Here's the thing, is that we're talking about theoretical probabilities, but we live anecdotal probabilities.
Yes.
And anecdotal probabilities are fucked.
Yes.
Oh, true.
Because you're gonna remember the outliers way more than like the moderate results. Right. So yeah, I mean, I don't know. I like it. I don't. I can understand why anyone would be like, I just always play this because why not? I'm personally in the camp of I play this anytime I care about the Bless and Curse tokens because it's enabling
Sure.
Well, then that changes the math completely, right? Because the math isn't what's then important. It's those tokens that are available for manipulation.
Yeah, it changes the math by throwing it out the window. That's my favorite way to change math.
Yeah. I reject this. Goodbye. Yeah.
But for what it's doing, I think MJ nailed it with the design. Keep it free, keep it fast, keep it cantrip, and just add more chaos with blesses and curses because that's innately what they're gonna do.
Yeah. And use the then word so that it keeps it
right. All right, I'll hold that one against them.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think that wraps up the Innsmouth Conspiracy. We're going to call an audible here, and since we had so many damn cards to review, we're going to talk about the scenarios of the Innsmouth Conspiracy on the next episode. So we're going to punt that to next episode, and sorry for anyone here who's hanging out in chat who really wanted to hear about that tonight. Gonna have to wait a little bit, and I'll add an addendum to the beginning of the podcast for anyone who was really excited about it at the beginning. Guys, we're going to get into it, and I feel like this is actually probably the worst place to talk about Bless and Curse as a mechanic in general, because I don't feel like it really comes into its own until we start seeing some of the level up cards, but taking that into account in general terms, how are you feeling about Bless and Curse as a mechanic, since that's really what Innsmouth Conspiracy player cards are pushing hard?
I think it's a fun gimmick, and gimmick might be too reductive. I think it's a fun archetype to build around. I think that the more I'm pretty sure I'm going to be echoing or preempting, I guess, what Scott's going to say, but the more people committed to it, the better it gets and the more fun you will have with it. Yeah, I think it's cool.
I hate it. It's not fun, and I think the less you commit to it, it's better. No, I'm just kidding. I was just trying to be opposite of Nick.
Wow!
Yeah. No, I absolutely love what Bless and Curse has done for this game. I think the addition of new tokens is an amazing idea. I didn't see this coming by a long shot, because the idea of an LCG like this just adding new cardboard components is not something completely new, because Conquest did it, and I was a big Conquest player. But
particularly to like the main mechanic in the game,
right? Like, it was just, I did not expect this, and I think this box gives you a taste. And as you get through the campaign or get through all the packs, we start to see Bless and Curse fleshed out. Because I know a lot of the complaints early on were like, well, it's just +2 and -2. It just seems like it's random stats here and there. But once you get to stuff like Ward of Radiance and all these other cards that, the Sister Mary signature card where it's 0 cost and it reduces the cost by 2.
Rite of Sanctification.
Thank you. Rite of Sanctification. Like, those cards are what really interest me, where you want those tokens in the bag so you can use other card effects to manipulate the game that isn't just drawing tokens.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I would just echo what you guys have said. I honestly think from what I've seen so far, it has far surpassed what I thought it would do.
Yes.
Coming out of this box, you see kind of the little bits of what it can do, where you're just like, you're using it as a cost to get a cool effect, or you're foregoing the benefit that blesses do you to get something, like Rite of Sanctification, to get a different benefit out of it. But as soon as you start adding like covenants and like hell, just that combo we uncovered in talking about the new cards coming up in the last pack, where it's like, well, Tides of Fate into Hallowed by itself looks like this really weird thing to put together, but all of a sudden when you look at some of these other cards that just can burst curse tokens into the bag and suddenly make this thing playable, bless tokens in the bag and make this thing playable, seems a lot more surmountable. And I have to say, what really turned me is finally actually putting together a 4-player suite of decks that really actually cares about these things.
Right.
Yeah.
And building around the mechanic, and that alone, even getting to 2 scenarios in, and really all everyone's taken is the level 0 cards and the covenants at this point. That's all anyone's really played with. and that alone has made for some very interesting choices and some cool coordination, and like that's really what I want out of a mechanic. So I'm pleased as punch with it.
Yeah. Fun fact: this deluxe box has no leveled up cards.
Right.
All level 0.
Is that not normal?
I believe that is a first. We usually get like one leveled up card.
I suppose, yeah.
Per class, but
it makes sense though. Like it makes sense for the base box to be level 0.
Yeah,
that's cool. All right, cool. Well, like I said, we'll punt the encounter deck stuff to next time, and I'm sure Ian will appreciate that because he is the person who's in charge of the Innsmouth Conspiracy Dissonant Voices, and as I've learned, doing dissonant voices and actually reading through everything in that kind of very intentional detail teaches you things that you didn't learn by playing through it. At least it did for me when I did Dreamlands and a lot of the Circle Undone stuff. So yeah, we'll punt that to next time when he can join us and offer some insight. For now, guys, let's wrap it up with some really high and tight tentacle time. Nick, what you got going on? What's grabbing you?
Streaming Rime of the Frost Maiden every Tuesday, 7 p.m. Central Standard Time to 11 p.m. Central Standard Time at twitch.tv/Nicholas Corey. You should come and watch. We've got your MJs, we've got your Ians, we've got your Justins, Joshes, Daves, and Cases. And we've got we got a really fun session coming up next week. I highly encourage you to come and watch as they are fighting their way through a dwarven fortress with the hopes of stopping a Chardalyn dragon from being released, and we'll see if they're successful or not.
So he's done something awful and is an exile from his culture?
Who? Sorry?
Is that what Chardalyn means?
I thought you said charlatan.
Oh, no. Chardalyn. It's specific to the campaign. You'll figure it out if you come and watch.
Aha.
That wasn't a dig at Sean. That was just to keep us moving in tentacle time.
That's okay. I can take a dig. Scott, how about you?
Not playing a lot of games, except for my son learned how to play Mario Kart a couple days ago, and
all right.
Today he won his first race. So
nice,
proud dad here.
On Switch.
On Switch, yeah, and he's 4.
Cool.
So.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
But I want to throw out a band recommendation out of the blue because.
Oh, are you about to steal my tentacle time?
Oh, are you doing Bear Ghost too?
Yes, I was. Let's talk about it.
Okay, so you had a random song by this band called Bear Ghost, like bear as in the animal and ghost as in, well, ghost, and 2 words, and you were like, hey guys, this song's really cool. And I started listening to it. I was like, oh, I wonder what their other stuff is like. And I just went to their Spotify page and just went to like their top 5 and just started listening. I was like, man, they have some really good songs. And yeah, they're fast. They're high energy, panicky almost, I would call them.
Particularly big time Banky Blaine's Rockabilly Barbecue,
yes.
Which was the song I initially discovered. Like that one is like stressful, and it's intentionally so.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's because I've just become the guy who like blames everything on capitalism, but I'm pretty sure that song is about the tension of working class versus the elite class.
Oh, if you read the lyrics, it's actually about the proletariat finally captured.
Yeah, okay, I was about to say
the proletariat finally capture the bourgeoisie, force them to fight to the death, and then they eat them.
Okay, so I'm not reading it. I'm not reading into it. It's literally in there.
Yeah.
But that's the song where like I listened to that the first time. I'm like, holy shit! I feel thrash, but that was amazing.
Yeah.
So big time Banky Blaine's Rockabilly Barbecue.
Yeah. The other
and then Scott, you dove into them faster than I did. I discovered the initial song, but then you were like, oh yeah, these other ones. Sirens. Sirens is a really good song.
Let me just look at I made like a tiny little playlist for them. Star Killer is another good one.
Yep, Star Killer, Necromancin' Dancin'.
Yes, Necromancin' Dancin'. So my wife is also a D&D nerd, and I'm a half nerd, and we've decided that we want to make a.
Is that your official race in D&D?
Half nerd, yeah. And so I sometimes get ideas from songs to make characters, and so I was like, oh man, I want to make a bard that can do necromancy, and base it on the necromancer dancing, like, because the chorus is like, yeah, I'm raising the dead. Like, I just imagine like a bard with bagpipes with fire coming out of the pipes at the top, and he's like dancing a jig, and all these like skeletons are coming up. So
the band honestly reminds me of kind of a slightly more technical, a little bit less metal, and a little bit closer to electronica, but they tickle a very similar nerve, I guess, to like Avenged Sevenfold.
Yes.
What?
If that makes sense.
I gotta listen to more than just the Rockabilly Barbecue song then.
Yeah, that one's probably the least like it.
Okay.
But I'd say Sirens and particularly the Necromancer and Dancing kind of tickle that Avenged Sevenfold
or
area.
Ludo. I don't know if you listen much to Ludo.
I have not.
Okay. They're another band from like the early 2000s that Bear Ghost reminds me of.
Sure.
But
okay, I'll have to check that out now.
Yeah.
But anyway, Bear Ghost. Start with Big Time Banky Blaine's Rockabilly Barbecue, or Sirens. Either way is a good starting point. And then move to the other one, and you're welcome.
I think you could just, if you're not sure what to do, go to Bear Ghost on Siren or Bear Ghost on Spotify, and just start at their most popular song and let it play. So.
Not a bad way.
Because it hits all those songs we talked about. So.
Yeah, they've been a very fun one to dive into. It. Also, they have a song called Bob Loblaw, which is just like the coolest Arrested Development reference ever.
I was sad that it wasn't actually a song about Arrested Development, though.
Right. Yep,
like,
they were just using it to make it actually sound like blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
But anyway, yep, there it goes. Check it out. Cool. Well, that wraps us up for episode 98 of Mythos Busters. We will check you guys for the next one.
Bye.
Bye. I was also...
Chop, chop, put 'em up on the pie.